Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Thunder Pod. I, as always, am your host, Billy Sullivan, joined, as always, by the lovely and talented Dave Alinovich.
These keep getting better. It's like the highlight of my week.
I'm trying to be silky smooth
It
as
works.
best I can.
Lovely and talented.
Yeah, I was initially, like I said, I was a little self-conscious after you pointed it out, and now I'm kind of proud of it.
Sure.
Now I want the silky smooth.
Like a pair of PJs, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little Barry White action. So today we're going to talk about Dynamite from this week. We will then, I think we're going to get into maybe some predictions for the upcoming pay-per-view this Sunday, AEW Revolution. Then we'll give you guys our thoughts as far as the Elimination Chamber, which just happened at like 5 a.m. last Saturday because it was in the Upside Down. And then we'll give you guys our thoughts on Raw. Dave, any thoughts about the wrestling week you have for me?
There was a lot, and I feel like I should have more to talk about given everything that happened. But I feel like I don't know, like, because everything that was supposed to happen happened, and I was excited for more Fallout, and I didn't get it. And I was excited for a little bit more build, and I didn't get it. But like everything that happened, I'm fine with.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm not like over the moon excited about what's coming up.
I think when you're on top of the pay-per-view like this, like if you built it correctly, there shouldn't be a ton.
At this
point. We're used to having a ton of build,
right?
Like on the Go Home Dynamites, because they were doing such a dog shit job of building stories.
That's a great point.
If it's done correctly, I think the last the Go Home show usually feels a little bit redundant.
It's like that last class before finals.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
why are you teaching me right now?
We
have a final at the end of the week.
It's repeated,
Yeah.
basically. So I think that speaks to. I have some thoughts though. I definitely have some thoughts about Dynamite. So we'll get rolling with Dynamite. The show this week kicked off with another promo train, which I did not love because it's a promo train. And I actually saw some other out in the ether in the conversation on the internet about the show, complaining about that a little bit too, because there was a specific thing that made the promo train itself not really make sense within the story. But it was Hangman Page came out first on crutches, doing a really believable job selling a injured ankle. What had happened was at the end of Dynamite last week, I don't remember did we talk about the potential injury?
Yeah, we touched on it because we mentioned Jerry Lynn got upset.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that a little bit. So yeah. So and Jerry Lynn, it turned like to me after this all played out, it was Jerry Lynn that let the cat out of the goddamn bag. If he just kept his mouth shut, we would be up in the air still. Like,
sure.
But him saying what he said, like, absolutely confirmed that it was a work.
Yeah.
So Hangman comes out on crutches. Gets in the ring, starts cutting a like old school super babyface Hangman promo where it's like, guys, I'm so sorry. Like, I know you're going to be bummed out, but I just, with this injury, and he didn't say what the injury was. This injury, I'm just not going to be able to perform at Revolution. So then Swerve's music hits. Swerve comes down, continues to like kind of do his face turn still by doing because he's never said anything like this before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he said, well, Hangman, like, I know you've tried to kill me and I've tried to kill you, but like I respect you. That's the reason I targeted you, is because I respect you. Something like, he's never said anything like that, I don't think.
No, and I would have known it because that was the one thing I hoped never happened in this feud. I wanted this to be such a I hate you feud so badly.
I would like him to stay blood feuding forever.
And when he's I respect you. Ugh.
Well, I mean, I think you got your wish. I think that was just to further this particular segment's storyline along, but like
so the worst.
So he's giving him I respect you, even though you stapled.
He also went into his house and hung out with his infant, which he talked about.
Well, he mentioned that too.
Yeah.
So so Samoa Joe then comes out and does his usual like incredible Samoa Joe, just fiery promo, basically saying like, you two idiots you keep yapping at each other like you're like, you know, the biggest threat to you is the other guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm the biggest threat to you. I'm the champion, and I'm staying the champion. And then
he had a terrific line. I wrote it down. He was saying basically how Hangman and Swerve are hungry, right? And it's not that they're hungry; it's they're accomplished. They're hungry, accomplished wrestlers. And he said, the only reason you're hungry is because I'm starving your ass. And as long as I got this championship, there ain't going to be any more meals come dinner time. I love
Joe.
Like, he said it so, like, no one talks like the way he set it up. So you're like, where's this going? And then when he paid it off, I fucking loved it.
He's so great at setting up the pins and then knocking them down in every one of those promos. He's like, I've never heard him like stumble on a word.
He doesn't stumble. He did do one thing that I didn't love. He telegraphed Paige being in the match prior to what happened at the end of the segment.
He said, I'm going to beat both of you or whatever.
Because he kept implying, he's like, and whether it's one of you or both of you, come Revolution, I'm beating both your asses. And I'm like, what is it? Hangman just said he's not in the match.
So, yeah, we 20 seconds later. So Swerve, you know, walks to the like up to the ropes on the side of the ring that's facing the ramp where Joe was standing. And, you know, you never see guys do this unless they're getting attacked from behind. But he like leaning on the ropes, staring now intently only at Joe. He starts talking about how he's still like, yeah, I respect Hangman, but I'm still a killer. I'm still the guy that
I am the man who trespassed into another man's home and threatened his infant child.
Yeah, and he also mentioned trying to kill an 18-year-old boy,
which I didn't know. What was that about?
Yeah, when they broke into that was like one of the nastiest segments they ever put on the air. It was like a pre-tape. AR Fox and Swerve broke into Mother Wayne's, I guess, because it would have been Buddy Wayne's wrestling school.
Yeah,
it was like right after Wayne's World signed, and he was still buddies with Darby at the time. And then they were feuding with Swerve, and so like Swerve broke into the wrestling school that Nick Wayne was like training at, and they like beat him unmerciful and smashed stuff over his head and left him all bloody, and like it was very violent.
Yeah.
So that's what you're referencing.
I see. Not for me, because I tapped out for a second. So
that was in the midst of like the lowest point. Like that segment was good, but that was I don't blame you.
That's when I was watching Love on the Spectrum instead.
Yeah.
Both seasons binged them. Very good.
That's a great show. I
have such high hopes for humanity after watching that show. I'm rooting for that.
I want to know like how the pitch. It's like the Shane Gillis bit. Yeah. Like he was the first guy that came up with the Special Olympics. Like, don't say that out loud to anybody, man. So Swerve, yapping at Hangman, and you can just feel it. It's coming. Hangman from behind, because of course Swerve is so intently staring at Samosif. Hangman hits Swerve with the crutch a few times upside the head. Swerve drops to the canvas, and Hangman, probably my favorite part about this segment was Hangman then screamed, he cannot have it. He cannot have it. Before he said, I am going to win the title. Mm-hmm. He did say that, but before he said that, he said, he can't. So it's just continuing his simple story, but it's consistent. Hangman is always consistent when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
His primary focus is like making sure Swerve doesn't have any success, and this was the most, at least in my opinion, the most like direct heel behavior that is particularly like an activity. He's been talking kind of heelish for a while, but this is the first time he's done it. I think
he faked an injury to blindside the guy,
and then exactly.
Also, one thing too there is we were talking earlier about how they're bringing up WWE. They did it here. And Swerve was talking.
The poncho thing?
That
was pretty funny.
You might want to go back to commentary wearing a poncho. And it's like, okay, we get it. He's also the world champ who's dusting your ass in a promo right now. It's like, pick your spots a bit
I'd be
better.
tougher on that if the Joe in a poncho thing was also kind of a meme, a picture of him at least.
Sure.
So that's like when I was watching the Dynamite this week, that is what popped into my head. I didn't even really remember whether that was in WWE or not. I remembered from like Reddit.
Yeah,
seeing
it was the
photograph.
WrestleMania when it rained.
Oh yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like for me, it was like the meme that he was referencing.
Sure.
Maybe that's not the way anybody else would have saw it.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it hit my ear. But my biggest issue with this is because I'm going to be nitpicky now, because AEW has been doing a better job, almost to their, like, back to the way that it was in 2020, as far as like attention to detail and making sure stuff makes sense. So Hangman comes out for this promo train. He doesn't know that Swerve is going to come out.
Correct.
What was his plan? What if Swerve was like not there or something?
Yeah.
He's going to be like, oh, okay, maybe I won't. I guess I really won't be in Revolution, I guess.
Right.
And then just like sheepishly walk back to the back.
I mean, maybe say something like, Swerve, why don't you come on out? Some things I got to say, or something.
Or how about they just do what they like normally would do and just have them all come out and say, these three have agreed not to any violence ahead of Revolution,
right?
Or what? Well, you can't do any violence, but like
something.
We're sitting down with Tony Schiavone, or Renee is going to be with all three of them in the ring right now.
Yeah.
Anything except for like the WWE thing where I have a psychic ability to know that like Swerve is absolutely going to come out when I start talking right now. It just breaks my immersion and like the reality of it a little bit. I know it's nitpicky because promo trains are a thing.
No, you should nitpick.
But like
that's important.
I hate them. I hate promo. For that reason, I hate that and other reasons, but primarily that reason I hate promo trains.
Yeah, and there was a couple things on this show where it was like, how do they not know? How like where like it was kind of a lapse in judgment kind of thing from a writer perspective, where it felt very like local theater kind of writing, as opposed to just like people would know, like it relates to the Young Bucks, but like this is
I thought they're
we'll get to it, but like this particular thing I feel
like every week we do the Dave starts with the here's why I hate the Young Bucks, and then I do the here's why I think you should look at the Young Bucks in a different way. Rolling.
It's a good bit.
It's
a good bit. But no, this I couldn't agree with you more on, where they're all just hanging out and like, oh, so and so's in the ring. I don't know. It
doesn't work. If you think about it with any logical,
especially going into the pay-per-view, this just seemed like an extra step because they had an extra week to kill.
Yeah,
and they're like, hey, let's just do this.
Well, I think if I had to guess, I would say that it probably was true that Hangman did have a thing, that it was potential there for him to miss Revolution, so they built in this injury thing, and then to cover their bases, to say like, okay, we can lean on that if he does have to miss, and if he doesn't have to miss, then we'll do the angle. Or the angle would have been fine, just don't do a promo train because you're not psychic, you don't know that Swerve's going to come out.
Or wait until tonight to say anything, and if he can't make it, then do an injury angle.
Yeah, but like I think that would bum more people out if you didn't give them any kind of heads up that there's a chance that the dude in the semi-main event is not gonna.
It wouldn't have bummed me out at all.
Well, it's you, and he's Hangman. So like,
well, also too, Swerve is winning, and I can't be happy.
I am. This segment actually has me now thinking that Hangman's gonna win. I think he is going to win, and that's probably why he's like doing whatever he has to be at the show. If even if he had like personal stuff going on,
and then Swerve chases,
because I think that's a good story. Like then you got Hangman, who's never beat Swerve. It makes him crazy. Never beat Swerve. If Hangman like pins Joe, then he still never beats Swerve. Swerve can then chase as then we'll get a proper 1v1 babyface versus heel. Hangman can just be the heel at that point. Swerve can stop referencing the times that he tried to kill a teenager or kidnap a baby and just be the babyface because everybody wants to cheer for him. So like let that play out, and I will happily take another Hangman Swerve like a continuation of the feud, or give it a real proper title feud thing. I mean, as awesome as Joe is, to me it's felt transitional. I mean, I don't want to crap on Joe because he's unbelievable. He's done as good a job as anybody.
But here we go.
Well, with the title once he had it, but putting the title on him at that time felt like, okay, they need to get this off of MJF, and I think the idea was get it on Swerve in some way, somehow, and it wasn't going to be directly through MJF. So, like, who can we use as like a in between while MJF goes to take his time off, and then we can go from there. That's what it felt like to me with Joe, at least initially. He's like kicked so much ass that he feels like a champion, not like a transitional champion.
Sure,
but I still think it's probably what the plan was.
I think we can agree he's the one eating the pin on Sunday.
I think
because both work. Swerve beating Joe, and then Paige has a legitimate gripe that Swerve is champ without ever beating him, and vice versa.
Yeah,
those are the two most compelling stories coming out of it.
If Swerve is our big babyface coming out, and if he wins, he's got to pin the champ. The babyface can't pin the other guy.
There's that too.
Whose number he already has,
right.
Like that we know. He beats him every time they have a match.
Yeah.
So I mean that could help. Like further the Hangman's losing his goddamn mind like thing if he gets pinned and is the direct reason that Swerve becomes the champion.
Yeah,
I just don't think it works for Swerve's story as much, and that's the one that I care about the most.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Either way, like again, I bring it up every week now. There's not many outcomes to this pay-per-view that I'm not going to be excited about.
There's only
forward.
one match that I'm not interested in, and it was a very late addition. We'll do our Revolution picks, like what we think is going to happen once we get done with Dynamite. So we can get into that at that time. But yeah, this card looks fucking bananas.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
So next up we had the BBC.
You skipped a couple segments, sir.
Oh, did I?
Matthew and Nicholas Jackson pulled up in a limo.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that gets a little redundant. I didn't want to.
No, they just mentioned the only notable thing was like, oh, you met with Ric Flair, and they didn't really say anything about it. And then they're looking for Sting. The running arc of this Young Bucks backstage segment throughout the show, because there's 3, 4, 5 of them where they're backstage.
Yeah,
and they're looking
which
for
we did ask for. Like we said on multiple episodes, we need Bucks all throughout the show.
But it started feeling more Scooby-Doo-ish than actually you're the EVPs and you don't know where everybody's at in the building at all times. That's the part that I was like, you can't ask security where this fucking guy is.
I can watch Matthew Jackson do his Vince McMahon voice and act like a douchey tech CEO all day long.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything about the acting for once. I think they actually did their roles correctly, but just the logistics of it, where the boss can't figure out where anybody's at.
I will also say that you said only one notable thing. Nicholas Jackson's pink suit was very notable. Thank you very much.
Oh sure, how dare I? How dare I? But what he did say, Matthew Jackson was funny. They're looking for Sting because they want to thank him for all of his accomplishments to the company and to conduct his exit interview.
Yeah.
And then which would have been fine, but then they held up the baseball bat, and you're like, okay, that's fine.
That's
a good line.
The hamming it up with the baseball bat part, I agree. That was a little much. Although every time with the white bats against Sting, I just love it.
Yeah.
It's a stupid wrestling thing, I know, but I'm a stupid wrestling fan.
Dark versus light.
Yeah.
Bad versus good.
Opposite. So we'll do opposite, right? Yeah. Okay. And then you get me saying, attention to detail, this is fucking Shakespeare. But yeah, no, I dig it. And I love the character stuff that they have going. Like they're such defined. Like I know exactly what character Nicholas is playing.
Yeah, it's
like the hard ass bad cop guy, and then Matthew is like very much sticking to the he's just as bad as Nicholas.
Yeah,
but disingenuous bullshitter. Like I said, like tech bro CEO kind of guy. Like let's go, let's have a great night out there tonight. This kind of bullshit.
All the corporate speak.
And then he always exactly. But he always sticks to the we're still finding you though. And they're really, really, you can tell that they're having fun now compared to that last run that they had where it was dead behind the eyes. Like I had never been bored watching the Young Bucks before.
Was that after they got emasculated by Christmas Miracle Punk? Yeah, I think so. And then they came on TV and they came out to Wayward Son and they sucked for a long time and nobody cared.
No,
was that the run you're talking about?
I didn't mind the initial Wayward Son stuff. I mean the last 4 months or something before they went on their hiatus to build these characters. They clearly did not. It was right after they re-signed. Yeah. And they actually did an interview outside. It was like, we re-signed primarily because it's less dates and good money. And that doesn't get me very fired up, guys.
Thanks,
what the hell are
boys.
you talking about? Tell me that you resigned because you're excited for the future and that you have but they weren't at the time. And like, it was like right after Matthew's wife left the company and stuff. And it just felt like they weren't into it for the first time since I've ever watched the Bucks. They were not into, like, love them or hate them. They've always been very into their craft and like pro wrestling and stuff. And I thought they may just be done. But the spark is back. They definitely are like chewing the scenery and stuff with all this stuff. And they very clearly love it. Love doing this character thing. Yeah. A lot more than they did they really, in their defense, the booking was not there for them either. I don't know what their characters were supposed to be before they left.
But they have all creative control over their own characters, so shame on you.
Well,
shame on you, buckaroos.
In kayfabe, they do.
No, in real life, they do too.
Everything I've ever heard is in real life. It really does just come back to Tony Khan. Well, like, the EVPs generally have his ear more than the other guys, but like,
well, there you go then.
He like many times, and who knows, he might be full of shit here, but like, I've heard many times that EVPs have come to him with ideas, and he'll just turn it down or pivot from that to another idea that he has that's similar or whatever. But like, they don't just have carte blanche. It's not like Kevin Nash and WCW or something. Like, it is still has to be pitched to the boss.
Well, if that's the best they got past them, then that was a dire time.
Exactly. That's why I thought they were going to quit wrestling or something, because it was like, boy, you guys do not have the heart at this point. But they do now. I mean, it's like, you can tell when somebody's into something that they're doing, and they relish the doing this role. Speaking
of being into things that you're into, there was a let's beat the shit out of each other match.
Yes, absolutely. So the BCC FTR plus Edward, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they did. Yeah, it was a Blackpool Combat Club minus Wheeler Yuta against FTR and Edward Kingston.
Stout out Schuss. Stout out to Schuss.
Stuss.
I got so excited I mixed up some syllables. Shout out Stuss.
I can.
Now leave it in. Stout out Schuss.
Yeah, the Edward thing is the reference to the MJF list he made of people that will never beat him for his title, like the day after that he won the belt the first time. And for Eddie Kicks, that he just put Edward, which I can only refer to him as Edward. Like, it's just so damn funny to me, because he's probably Eduardo, right? Like, he's
Eddie
Puerto Rican.
Kingston.
Yeah, he's
Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know Kingston is not a
no.
I don't know if that's his real name.
I don't know.
Or if I don't think it is, but I also think his real name is not Puerto Rican sounding either. I think
it never dawned on me. No, because he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah, but he is he's at least half, but I think he's mostly Puerto Rican.
I never got further than Brooklyn.
He talks about it in like, if you watch like Ethan Page did like a long form interview with him and stuff when they were on the Indies. It's like that kind of shit. That's how I know
Assuming I will watch a long form of anything Ethan Page does. No.
He was solid at that.
No.
He's got that
both of these guys
YouTube program. It was pretty good.
Both of these guys used to wrestle for AAW at a local indie promotion that I would go to once in a while, and I didn't want to watch them then, and they were 30 feet in front of me, and they have not changed at all.
He was fine
on national television.
At Kingston too?
Yeah.
But I think all of Eddie's stuff except for his in ring.
He taught like he's
good.
It's
a great mic.
Yeah, because he taught because it doesn't sound fake. He just sounds like
that's the whole that's the aim of the game, right? That's why Punk sounds great
but then
too.
Look at him. That's
the problem. That's where trouble comes into paradise because he might be selling, but he always seems like he gets gassed.
Was that a Kingston pun? Trouble into paradise?
It wasn't, but I can edit this part out and I claim that it was because
smooth. This was a long.
It was
21 minutes and 53 seconds from bell to bell.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. Cash Wheeler is trying to kill John Moxley. It's cool that he's continuing his story of just constantly every opportunity he gets trying to end the life of John Moxley.
Yeah.
He's like a maniac out there in these matches. He's always like the higher spot guy when it comes FTR matches in general, but like he's trying to kill John Moxley.
But you brought up a good point. He's got some legal things coming up where
he
might
maybe he's blowing off steam.
Yeah. He can't do it
himself from waving his gun around.
Totally. But no, I thought this match was long, and this was a for as violent as it was, there was a lot of rest holds and a lot of hope spots in this match, which is pretty uncommon in AEW.
But
given who was in the match, everybody was from AEW. I'm sorry, WWE at one point, minus
Edward. Yeah. Never. He's the least WWE guy ever.
They hired Bastion Booger.
I would have liked them not to have had this match. Like I didn't think it was bad by any means. I thought it was.
You mean with the pay-per-view right around the corner?
It felt like this match was one more than would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Like they had built it exactly to where it needed to be. I mean, I think this one probably benefited the Edward Danielson feud.
Yeah.
Because the way the finish, so the way that the match finished was, it ended up being just Danielson and Edward in the ring, and Danielson hit him with the Busaiku knee
after yes chants.
He did his yes chant thing, which usually he reserves for like big pay-per-view moments.
Yeah,
he's only done it a couple of times, I think, in the past. But he hits him with the Busaiku. Kingston is clearly unconscious, and Danielson then puts him in the triangle choke and does his like muscle pose while choking Eddie
Diaz.
out.
Nate Diaz style.
Yeah, exactly.
He did the double biceps and everything.
So like that, it was more, further humiliation of the person I don't have any respect for or whatever. So like that part was cool, but I wouldn't have used this as the avenue to get to that part of like, yes, that story needed a little bit more building, and I think that was good. It was a smart decision to do that on this show. But like BCC, FTR, they could have not said anything about them in this episode, and I would be probably even more excited about the pay-per-view match they're about to have.
Last week was a pull apart.
Yeah.
So that could have, and that was a long pull apart. Like they kept coming back together, and like I thought they did that very well. Danielson is such an attraction. I think you're correct here. It was a misfire too. Now, he's not overexposed, but for his standards, like he's been on TV a lot.
Yeah.
And like you got to keep him special. Also, too, is he losing now?
I think so. And I didn't until this. But I don't think you have him humiliate Edward that way.
Why does he?
I really wish we could just swap out Mark Briscoe for Eddie Kingston, because they're both from a different place in the country, obviously, but they both have that like blue collar, super believable promo thing. They're both like the crowds absolutely adore them.
Yeah,
Briscoe's
at
they
least
have like a
believable
connection with and Briscoe in the ring is awesome too. Like Eddie's not awesome in the ring,
not at all.
Oh, that's the other point that I wanted to make about this match. I hate this every time it's done. I don't care if it's in Japan or Eddie Kingston or Eddie Kingston's teammates doing it to like show respect to him. Eddie Kingston is a very, very good chop. His regular chop makes a big boom.
Yeah.
Looks great, sounds great, makes the opponent's chest all red. That machine gun chop thing he does.
Are you talking about when they were all in the corner doing it?
He does, yeah, but he does it all the time.
Yeah,
and it always looks like he's hitting his opponent about as hard as like I would hit my 9-year-old daughter if we were like play wrestling. Like, you can't do those like machine gun chops and make them look impactful. And everything else he does, it looks like he's hitting. So like when you do that to follow it up, to me, it just always looks very silly.
Especially at the time he was doing that to Claudio Castagnoli. And those two don't like each other.
Yeah.
So you would think he would hit him a little bit harder.
Well, commentary sells that thing like it's way more painful than the regular chops. But like my eyes tell me that he's like tapping him like on the chest. So I wish they would just get rid of that. I know that Eddie Kingston loves his like references to Japan, and I think it's like a Kobashi move or something. So that's why he does it. But like it just doesn't look good.
No.
Like, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do it and have it look good. I don't think I've seen Danielson try it. He can usually make everything look good, but I don't think I've ever seen that look anything but like dirty Dom soft.
Because you're just, one of the big criticisms I've always heard of this strong style stuff is where you just willingly allow the other person to hit you as hard as they can.
Yeah. But it's from All Japan.
Yeah, but it's like, why are you, like, why wouldn't you stop him from hitting you as hard? Like, you're in a fight at the end of the day. And especially now, since everything's leaning more sports oriented, hell, even WWE is starting to, like, you could tell the UFC influence. We'll get there, but like that UFC starting to get all over their presentation. Like, don't stand there and just like slap the guy for a little while and expect me to believe.
They do. They try to do the thing.
Well, hang on, because
the
then
fighting spirits thing, where you're showing like you can hit me, I don't care, hit me as hard as you want, I'm just gonna hit you back.
Great, but then when
I'm with you that it's a little silly.
But then when Danielson is dropping 12 to 6 elbows, and I finally watched it because my big gripe was that Claudio and Moxley couldn't do these things as well as Danielson. They're all doing them at the same time during this match.
Yeah, it stands out when Danielson's doing it at the same time.
But Danielson stands up and then like damn near squats all the way down when he drops his elbow. Yeah. The other two guys don't move their hips.
No, they do.
And
you're
like, oh, that's
version.
why. And I think it's because he's a short guy.
And I think, the stomp is even more
brutal,
accentuated to me. Like Danielson looks like he's trying to brain the person he's doing it to.
Yeah.
And the other two, whenever they do it, it looks like a kitten or bunny feet or something like.
So I think Claudio doesn't fit. Like, I'm glad they're boys. Moxley fits. Like, you could tell he's having fun. He's being more intense and into his stuff. But Claudio don't fit. Wheeler Yuta never fit.
I like Wheeler.
Danielson even said if they were going to let one more person into Blackpool Combat Club, it would be Daniel Garcia. He said it within the last week somewhere on social media.
Yeah, he fits more, but I'm glad they didn't because I like where he had to go through some shit, but he came out, Daniel Garcia I'm talking about, came out of the other end of that, I think, in a much better spot right now than he would be had he joined the BCC back then.
It was dire up until 2 weeks ago for Daniel Garcia.
Well, they started the redemption of Daniel Garcia, the rebuild, during the Continental Classic. It was throughout that tournament, the way that finished, and then it's been weekly stuff with him. Yeah, like the culmination for sure has been the last 2 weeks where it's like, oh shit, this guy's the guy now.
Yeah.
But it was they started building it back when they started the Continental Classic.
AEW
tournament.
loves their slow builds, man.
I prefer them to builds. Like when I got a pay-per-view coming up and I have no idea what's going to be on the card.
Which coincidentally is also AEW most of the time, but they're getting better. Both companies are bad at that, but which we'll also get to the other company who's bad at that not too long after. This son of a bitch keeps proving me right. The next thing is a backstage segment with Y2. No, he's not Y2J.
No.
What is he?
He's Lionheart. He's back to being Lionheart
Chris Jericho.
because he's going to be facing his former teammate and a former pro. I just found this out today.
Mentor.
Well, in 2000, Atlantis. I think Atlantis. It was his teammate back when Jericho was in Mexico in the 90s. And Atlantis won the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Match of the Year in 2000. And think about what 2000 was like a year in wrestling. It was a huge year. And that dude won the Match of the Year. So he must have been pretty awesome. I don't know. I didn't know much about him, but Jericho's wrestling his son here for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, because I get the reason. It's yes, his dad was his teammate or whatever, but he
wanted to show his appreciation to Atlantis by teaching his son some new things.
What a wonky ass promo too.
It was the worst.
Felt like off the top of his head or something, right?
Yes.
He was looking off into the middle distance, and then me and Atlantis we were teammates for a while. He was scatterbraining it. It was really strange.
It was and why did this have to happen at all? So two things. One, this didn't have to happen because Chris Jericho just needs to inject himself into whatever because he feels like it at any given moment, despite any. There's a pay-per-view on Sunday. He's on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I know.
There was no mention of anything he's doing on the pay-per-view.
And then the wrestling news recently was that he was going on hiatus to go tour with Fozzy. Well, good idea. Do that. Maybe there's a chance if you go away long enough that people will miss you a little bit.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I can I heard somebody mention that makes any sense to me as to why they put this match on this show is that I guess multiple, my guy had Cesaro, but multiple others CMLL guys are having their big time work visa problems. Mm-hmm. Multiple guys had their work visas end, not renew or something right this week.
Okay.
So they there's a chance they could be just trying to squeeze in the stuff that they wanted. They eventually wanted to get to Jericho and I'm sorry, what's his name again?
Atlantis.
Atlantis, thank you. They wanted to do the Jericho Atlantis thing eventually, but now they're concerned that like the CMLL guys are not going to be able to be in the States. They're not going to be able to perform on WrestleMania weekend. They all are booked for that, like a big CMLL show
with the Blackpool Combat Club,
and like they're the one that's in America. And no, the BCC one is in Mexico.
Okay,
but all those dudes and CMLL has like a big show booked in for WrestleMania weekend for, was it Philly? Is it Philly this year?
It's in Philly.
So so for Philly that weekend, and now like none of them, they're gonna have to cancel the show or something because none of them are gonna be able to perform.
Right.
So I think they were nervous that they were gonna lose this dude too. So like squeeze it in or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know why Jericho then cut that promo either. Like you've had some time off. Like you put some thought into it, homie.
It was, and that's the other thing. The CMLL, they just abruptly vanished off our TV after being on our TV nonstop, and now they're just abruptly back. I feel like this promo was like the program started last week, and I just missed a week of television.
It definitely feels like out of nowhere.
And I'm supposed to I all of a sudden care. Like, did I miss a recording or something? And then
how about his super fiery and Espanol at the end?
It was. I didn't hate it because it was actually like, all right, that makes sense. Yeah. You did, work in Mexico. You could probably speak a little bit of Spanish.
He meant what he was saying for that part of the pay-per-view, the pay-per-view, for that part of the promo, at least.
Yeah.
The rest of it was just like, just say some random shit off the top of my
head.
His
delivery was fuego.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
And then I will have so many more things to say when the Lionheart match comes up later. But before we get to the to the bad, there was some very, very good that was on the show next.
Elevation? Or Elevated?
Elevated?
Elevated, I think, is the name of the Will.
Yeah.
It was Ospreay.
Yeah.
So, Will Ospreay made his official debut, not in ring, but like official appearance for the first time as a full-time member of the AEW roster. Came out to one of the bigger pops of the night. It was a crappy crowd. Alabama and Huntsville, not a good crowd. Man. Looked like they had a decent number of people there, too. They were just not your usual... fired up AEW. They get some of those crowds in the South that are not, if it's not Texas or Florida, a lot of those Southern towns are not quite as hot as like everywhere else in the country that AEW, when they go there, even if they have smaller crowds, usually they're loud.
Right.
So they're, this week's Dynamite, Huntsville, they can stay away from Huntsville as far as I'm concerned going forward. But Ospreay comes out, Tony Schiavone introduces Will Ospreay, music hits, place goes nuts. Comes out, that dude just like exudes energy.
Yeah.
Like he was a big, huge goofball, which Will Ospreay is. He's doing my wife and I went on holiday for 10 days and I got pissed and it was great. Doing his brav like
he's like a soccer
nonsense.
hooligan. He's a hooligan. It's awesome.
But but it's like no matter what he says, it's just you feel like, I want to watch. My eyes are attracted to do this like bursting ball of energy that I'm watching on TV right now. I liked he was wearing a green tracksuit and he's like just stream of consciousness Will Ospreay nonsense. I look like Kermit the Frog on leg day.
He also highlighted that Delta lost his bags and then immediately said, but they found them.
Yeah.
So he got the crowd to boo Delta Airlines and then immediately cheer them.
It was
very funny.
It was as Will Ospreay as it possibly could have been. He was like full on Cockney ass Will Ospreay. He looks very excited to be here.
Well, he's all wrapped up now. That was one thing he said is he wanted to wrap up his obligations with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He said he's going to be here full time, but not yet. And now the time has come.
Yeah.
So now let's get rocking and rolling.
It's pretty cool though that like when you see a dude that is kind of the consensus best wrestler in the world. And I'm not saying that's the case, but like it's what people think.
It's a hard argument to go against.
But you're coming in as that, and you're coming in with that. Like on top of that, you're going to have the good, like incredibly positive, fired up attitude too.
Right.
Which a lot of guys that like then will later then complain, I didn't get a push or whatever. Well, like it's what you bring to the table too. And like this dude is like, that's exactly what you want to see from somebody that's coming into your company, especially like a big name like that. Like a lot of times those guys, they're not as willing to like put over the company to show how excited they are or act like they're excited. I mean, I think it was legit. I don't think Will Ospreay's a very good actor, but
right.
I think he's legitimately excited. But that's like part of the reason why he's so goddamn good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very excited for this.
I can tell.
For this.
I'm excited for you because I don't have this is like when Punk came back to WWE.
Yeah.
Which was that for you too.
Yeah.
But I think this is that for you too plus 10.
Kind of.
Whatever the measuring units
my
are.
My very recent viewing, wrestling viewing has been Will Ospreay is by far my favorite guy to watch.
Yeah.
In the last probably 2 years since he started putting up his 6-star matches.
And then he rattled off, speaking of his matches, he rattled off what he's done without even being full-time in the company.
Cool too. I never really thought of that.
He beat everybody.
Damn. Yeah.
Everyone that's notably.
Yeah. He mentions beating Jericho in Wembley.
Yeah. Omega in Canada.
And
Orange Cassidy on night one.
On the first time he was and that's
I was at
big
that
as it gets.
Wait, was I? Yeah, I was at that one.
Great match.
Yeah.
Jealous.
I was at that one. Yeah. That was during COVID, I believe. No, it was that's when you still had to have a COVID card to get into places. So most of the arena was masked up. A lot of yelling though. Those masks didn't really stifle the yell.
No, I doubt the masks did much at wrestling shows.
No, they allowed me to have a great time while being hidden on camera.
But I think that's a good sign too for Ospreay's future that he is already immediately integrating his past with AEW and into his character and his story. So then Don Callis, the Brown Note music I love so much. I
stood up. I stood up when I saw that one of his Titantron screens is the painting of the Last Supper.
Yeah, it's great.
Has that been a thing?
Yeah,
I never saw it before.
Since the Don Callis family's
I guess I just never paid attention, but I'm that's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
The same lady that he commissioned to do the oil painting of Chris Jericho decapitated.
Yeah.
He had them do
how the hell did I miss that? It was beautiful.
It's one of my favorite things in wrestling.
I love it. Anyway,
I actually went and saw the painting, The Last Supper in Italy this last year, and I was like, Don Callis. But Callis comes out with Hobbs and Takeshita. I kind of think that should be the family, just those two, because they look awesome with him.
Yeah,
and they both can use him on the mic.
Yeah.
and
Kyle Fletcher
they look
too.
Scary as hell. I think Kyle Fletcher's can talk a little bit more. I mean, he fits as far as the super athlete, incredible wrestler thing that Callis is going for the Don Callis family. Yeah. He definitely fits. I just don't think he needs Callis as much. I think you're right though. I think he'll probably be in that Will Ospreay role permanently, especially after this little segment. Mm-hmm. So Callis brings his guys down, and everybody doing the Don Callis boo the hell out of him as soon as he starts to talk. I wish they would leave Dirty Dom when they do the booing thing too.
Yep.
It's better when you don't amp it up by making it sound ridiculous on TV to where you can't hear them at all.
Correct.
It's way more effective when you just let the crowd do their thing.
Yep.
Which they are doing for Dom too, but the production for WWE afterwards, just let him get his booze. It sounds great. So Callis is talking about how the upcoming match, so people are, why would you pit two of your own family members against one another? And the comp he made was Jordan and Pippen, how they used to kill each other in practice.
That's the second Bulls reference
Yes, it is.
in 2 weeks across 2 different major wrestling promotions.
Yep, that Bulls team specifically.
They are embedded in the cultural lexicon forever.
Or just Dennis Rodman, because he wrestled for WCW. He's
nope.
That team is...
Everybody, it's in the blood. It's in the blood of the fabric of America.
I'll believe that too. Then.
The bloody fabric.
So then Callis has the two kind of square off and then tells them to shake hands. There's a big Ospreay chant, which Callis responds to by then going yeah, Ospreay, Takeshita. That was funny.
Because it's the rhythm of
it doesn't fit.
Matching those two chants together.
Don Callis is so great.
He did say the big winners, or the real winners of this whole thing.
How happy is he that he got that scar from the Moxley thing?
Yeah, he looks like a Street Fighter villain.
100%. Yeah. I'm sure that he was
leave it.
The only person in the world that would have been super happy with a giant, awful-looking scar across his head. He's such a carny. He's great.
He's a terrific hype man too.
Oh, for sure.
He's got a bunch of guys that, to your point, I don't think he could talk. He talks to everybody, and he thrives, and he barely. I don't recall him missing.
No, not really. I mean, he's like Heyman-esque to me.
Yeah. He's so goddamn good that you just put him with a bunch of dudes who can't even speak English, and I'm so excited to see what those guys are going to do, and I know their motivations.
Yeah.
And I care.
They're scary as hell.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Takesha's a goddamn house.
Yeah.
And Hobbs is Hobbs. Hobbs is, I think, the scariest looking pro wrestler
Absolutely.
there is.
Especially when he does that little smile. It's
yeah.
legitimate. You ever try to do that smile? I try to do it once or twice.
It's not scary.
No.
Not for me, at least.
Not even a little bit.
I love Powerhouse's music, too. It makes me want to do the bob and weave boxing thing. It's great music. So Callis gets Takeshita and Ospreay to shake hands. Ospreay is kind of doing, mugging for the camera in a way that I don't know if I like this. I didn't ask him. Oh yeah, when Callis first came out, Ospreay said audibly to Shivani, "Oh, I didn't ask for this. What's going on here?" So they're planting the seeds for that relationship, I think, to end because Ospreay is just going to be a huge baby face no matter what.
Do you think he's staying with the family for a little while?
I think he is going to eat a screwdriver to the forehead on Sunday.
Oh, right away.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it immediately.
I see.
Well, we can talk about that a little. I'll get more into it when we talk about our predictions for the show. Sure. But the vibe I got from this segment particularly was they're not going to do any kind of length. This is Callis knows in character. Callis knows that already that he's going to turn on Ospreay.
Yeah,
it felt that way to me. When they shook hands, both of them then did the Trump thing where you pull the guy in real close to power move thing.
Those are two strong handshakes.
Yeah, yeah.
Answer me this, because I clearly don't follow New Japan and all this very closely. Didn't Jericho, when he went to New Japan to face Omega, wasn't he the alpha?
Yes.
But now they're just doing it with Takeshita, and we're supposed to not.
Well, I think he called himself the alpha, but it wasn't an official. He was the painmaker at that time.
So
So it was just a thing he said in a couple promos, I think.
I see. Okay. It's like how when Punk and Jericho
says everything in the world Jericho has said. Because he says everything that comes into his head.
Yeah. But
he definitely did the Alpha and Omega thing.
I thought I heard of it before.
But it wasn't his gimmick was painmaker.
It was just to sell that match pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all.
But yeah, Takeshita looking scary as always.
Yeah, he looks good.
Good segment, I would say.
That might be match of the year so far.
The upcoming,
yeah,
I expect it to challenge right now. My personal, my always ongoing list.
Here's the
by the way, once we get our website up, I'll link on our website my top 50 that I was talking about last week. But yes, for this year, it's going to be hard to top a match that happened, I think, on the second day of the year. Takeshita Darby was insane. I've watched that match 10 times. It's going to be tough to top, but I mean, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Will Ospreay with the same, working with the same dude.
Right.
It's going to be awesome. Unless somebody got hurt, I don't think there's a chance that it wouldn't be awesome. They're both too good to fail.
And they're both super athlete, and they're both legitimate.
And they both are willing to lay it in and let it be laid in on them too. Just everything about it.
I like when there's not the size differential. Even with the Darby thing, it's he's bigger than him.
That was the story of that match. He was just ragdolling Darby,
right?
Throwing him German suplexes where Darby was doing 3 flips in the air after he released them.
And he has a death wish.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I guess that's probably why it. But it really adds to the credibility when you got two guys that are. Who legitimately could square off.
Yeah.
Again, in the age of UFC where there's weight classes and stuff, it's when it's not Kali or Rey Mysterio anymore, it's Rey Mysterio might have a shot. He's no, in real life, he doesn't have a goddamn shot. So, to that point, I'm excited to see what he does against.
Darby makes me believe, I will say, because he's such a maniac. But it's only because he's such a maniac.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Sure.
But yeah, most of the time, it's that would be too big of a size gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of size gap, Eddie Kingston was backstage next. I don't even know what the hell that means. Woohoo! Segue.
Size gap between the gap between Eddie Kingston's once potential as a wrestler and what he ended up being for the last 20 years.
I'm glad you figured it out because I had no idea what the hell it even meant. But
Kingston's doing a backstage interview.
Yeah. Nicholas and Matthew Jackson walk in, and they basically say, hey, we heard you, Eddie Kingston, saying some stuff you shouldn't have been saying. Next time you do that, there's going to be a fine. Nicholas Jackson says this because he's tough, and Matt Jackson says they need to start implementing a dress code as well. Because he's showing up in his Timbs.
Timbs and sweats. Right. So, the Vince McMahon dress code alluded to. I think you said you didn't watch Rampage.
I skipped Rampage and Collision this week.
Did you see the gift card thing?
Tell me about the gift card.
So, to make up to Tony Schiavone, to make up for, Nicholas, when he accidentally knocked Tony Schiavone down, to make up for it, Matthew Jackson gave him a $25 Amazon gift card, and then told him he's like, "Can you rescind the fine, the $1,000 fine?" And like, no, we're going to need you to go ahead and still get that in by the week's end.
That's pretty funny. That's like something on The Office.
It was great.
Yeah, that's good.
I was expecting kind of something like that here too, but Kingston just got disgusted.
Also, too, they didn't let the guy who talks talk.
That's a thing lately with Kingston. I was happy that he was actually answering interview questions, because his gimmick lately has been like, oh, it's stupid TV. The camera's over there, and I hate everything about television. So then he walks off. But like, you're one of the best talkers in the company. Yeah, I'd rather you just talk. Like, Absolutely. Just do your badass interviews.
Yeah.
This was at least for a storyline.
They were just progressing the where Sting thing.
Yeah, they're continuing to look for Sting with their white bats.
The Scooby-Doo episode continues.
Nicholas's lovely pastel pink suit. Did they follow the Bucks here or was it? Did they come back to them again for the next segment when they go into the office?
The next one.
Okay.
Yeah. The next thing is Orange Cassidy versus Nick Wayne in a international title match. The title was on the line.
It's the open challenge thing.
Which is fine. Staggering stat, they said Orange Cassidy has 41 title defenses. Yeah. 41.
He's the biggest workhorse in wrestling.
Send him to Hawaii for 3 weeks.
Wait, no, because he won't. He'll say he's going to Hawaii, and then he'll get on a plane to London for a Rev Pro show. Absolutely. And then fly to Japan.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
3 shows there. Like, the dude, I don't know how he does it. He's not super young either. He's like late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. He's one of those dudes that's like, he's way older than you think.
Sure.
But he's been on the Indies for 20 years or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, I didn't know that when he came in. I found that out like last year or the year before or whatever. But like, he's like, I want to say he's close to 40.
Yeah, he looks tremendous.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Also, too, small touches, and I always complain about this with Claudio and the BCC, how they don't look like they dress alike. Nick Wayne, his gear matches Killswitch's gear identically.
I love it.
They're so factioned up.
Yeah.
They look like the only real goddamn faction in that company.
Doing, man.
It's the details, man.
The Nick Wayne's douchebag puka shells fit his douchebag character so much better now than when he just had puka shells. And I was like, no, what, Nick Wayne? What are you doing? You're babyface. Get rid of the stupid puka shells.
Get rid of the nickname.
Frat bro.
Get rid of Wayne's World. Too. They said it at some point. They're like, oh, you went for Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Like,
he didn't hit it, but I thought of you when Excalibur called it out.
Just imagine if Stone Cold called the stunner the Wayne's World.
Yeah, no.
And he hits Mike Tyson with the Wayne's World.
No, I think that'll change. Again, he's literally 18 years old.
That's cool.
Like,
pick a different movie that wasn't around when you were alive.
Yeah. I mean, but it's his name though, Dave. It's my name is Wayne. It's Wayne.
Yeah, it's great.
You know what I noticed during this match? And then I couldn't unhear it, and now it's going to be the rest of my life, I think. Every single time, everybody on the announce crew, I thought it was just Excalibur, but then I was paying attention. It was every single person on the announce crew. Whenever they say Nick Wayne's name, they say his whole name. Nick Wayne up to the top turnbuckle. Nick Wayne with the leg drop. Nick Wayne collar elbow tie up. Nick Wayne. It's every single time they reference him. That's nobody else is that. You wouldn't say Chris Jericho every time. You would say Jericho then. Like, after you say his name the first time, when you're calling the match, you usually just say their last name. Or like if Powerhouse Hobbs had a match, it'd be like Powerhouse takes him to the top rope, or Hobbs,
Yeah.
crashes into whatever. When it's Nick Wayne, it's Nick Wayne every time. Nick Wayne, Nick Wayne, Nick Wayne.
Is it it's a syllable thing though?
It's got to be the way that his because it's too short. It's too
Like, are there
monosyllabic things.
Yeah. Are there any other?
What did you say? You would say Wayne, right?
I'm just trying to. Are there any other wrestlers
That they say the whole name?
like just 2-syllable wrestler names? I can't think of any other one.
I'm sure one will pop into my head at some point while we're talking.
Because there's the obvious ones where they have one name and it's one syllable,
sure.
Edge and Sting and Taz.
But John Moxley is only 3 syllables. They don't say John Moxley every time. They say Moxley or Mox.
I gotta pray on this because I really don't know. But
pay attention next time he is wrestling. It becomes like one of those things that it gets weird.
Yeah.
Like in your ear, it starts to get weird. Like when you say a word too many times, it stops sounding like a word. That's kind of like what happened in this match. But with Nick Wayne and his Nick Wayne.
What about Big Bill?
That's a nickname though.
But that's his build name. Not pun not intended.
But that's fine.
It's the only one I could think of.
I mean, it's 2 parts, but it's still his gimmick, his Big Bill. Nick Wayne is just the dude's name.
Yeah.
And they say it every time.
No,
every single time he does anything.
that I get. I'm just trying to think of any other. Anyway,
Scott Hall. I wouldn't have said Scott Hall.
Ooh, good one.
100 million times during a match.
They do say Hall.
They would say Hall.
Okay. All right. All right, good one. I'm really glad you said something because I would have been totally checked out for the next half hour.
I figured I would have to. I'd have to push through something there because both of us were going to be looking at each other blankly and pretending to talk about the rest of the show until.
What happened on the Elimination Chamber? I don't know. Nick Wayne.
I don't know. Is there somebody in the Elimination Chamber that has a 2-syllable full name?
R-Truth? No, he wasn't in it though.
It was a good match though. This I don't know if it was necessary. But.
No, it was a lot of fun. I loved how they tied together a bunch of different stuff. For how Taven and Bennett came out.
Yeah.
And then but they didn't, and now they have beef. They could have beef with Christian's patriarchy, and how Daniel Garcia came out, and he now he can maybe be buddies with the best friend. There were just 3 we're not touching each other factions out there.
And I noticed something on my second viewing with the Daniel Garcia coming out. Because when I watched it the first time, I thought Nick Wayne. He took the Nick Wayne. He took the turnbuckle pad off, and then they didn't come back to it. But that was in the first time. I was like, oh, that's a mistake. Yeah. But then on my second viewing, I realized no, it was Daniel Garcia stopped him from using it.
Oh, okay.
So it was made sense.
Yeah.
In the story.
So
and that he was distracted from that, and that's how OC got the pin. He hit him with the orange punch. I think that.
I don't remember the order of how these people came out, but it was just 1-on-1 for the most part. Then Christian decided to get. Decided to interfere, and then the patriarchy got thrown out. Yeah. So Christian, Mother Wayne, and Killswitch get thrown out.
Why does that get it doesn't matter if it's hardcore AEW wrestling, WWE wrestling, everywhere. When somebody gets thrown out from ringside, it's like Road Warrior pop every time. What? It gets way too much love every single time.
You're not
it's
wrong.
An automatic. Anybody gets tossed, the whole crowd goes apeshit.
Yeah. And the ref's really just doing their job.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was 4 more run-ins in this match, so it didn't really do anything. No. And you could see that coming too, because they all have the feud, like you said, beef with OC right now. So.
And it would have been nice for them to not get thrown out, because then it would have been even more interaction with all these little mini factions, and you just got more players.
They try to, AEW historically, when they're going good, they try to do make sure the numbers game does not make sure it makes sense. Sure. So if there was that many heels out, and it was just Garcia and then but the 2 best friends,
yes, so that's 3
would have been.
They had more out there than because it was Taven and Bennett. That's 2.
Roddy too.
Roddy wasn't out there.
Roddy's the one wasn't there? That's how the match ended. Or OC got the pin, and then Roddy came slid in the ring and hit him with the knee, and then beat the shit out of him.
You can see how closely I was paying attention. It's too many goddamn people. All right,
you were sick this week too. I'll give you.
Yeah, the flu is alive and strong in the Midwest of America.
Like you said, at least it's not COVID.
No, this hurt worse than COVID.
Yeah,
it really did.
Even on you're well today, but your voice is very clearly been through the ringer the last few days.
I got my Barry White voice.
Yeah,
my darling.
I feel like a pussy now. My voice sounds so high on her.
it's okay.
I already is kind of high, but now like I listen back on our sound check and I'm like, oh, Dave sounds like a man.
You could take a sip out of my beverage if you'd like to switch roles next week. But no, just like cool. It leads into the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Nick Wayne's got a Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne's got a very high, like his future has a very high ceiling.
I thought the match was super fun. He did a really cool acai moonsault, but instead of praying, he put his hands completely to the side.
Yeah,
and that I've never seen that before.
He's super smooth too.
Yeah.
Like everything he does is like buttery.
Yeah, he's gonna be fun. And what did you say? He's 18.
18. Yeah, because he was signed to like a futures deal at 17 because he was like Darby's boy.
Gotcha.
And he also was all over the internet. Like every one of his indie matches would be gifable because it's a 17-year-old kid doing all this crazy stuff everywhere.
Right.
Like Will Ospreay stuff, basically. So he signed with AEW officially on his 18th birthday, and it's been less than a year, so he's still 18.
Well, I'm looking forward to more of him. Yeah.
I think this is the first heel work he's done, too, and it's been great.
Well, they said, I don't think he's had many singles matches since he's been in the company.
I mean, like, in his life. I think this is the first time he's been a heel.
Oh, I
like,
see.
Indies, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's the first time he's ever done this.
Well, he's working with the right guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for damn sure.
Man, I love Christian.
Guys that shouldn't be working together are the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Don't know where the hell this is going.
I mean, I know where it's going, but like, why? I like either get there or I don't need to see them on every show. Like,
I thought for sure they were going to do this at Revolution, but apparently not. They're going to milk it.
I thought so too, and no.
At the same time, though, they are like tying up a division I don't want to see on television. So I don't like if you're looking for silver lining, that's fewer trios titles matches.
You know what? I have a weird first time since they started doing this storyline that I felt like I didn't like. An idea occurred to me that might not just be the Bullet Club turning on the Acclaimed. I kind of am feeling Austin Gunn might take Billy Gunn's place in the Acclaimed.
You think so?
He's like putting out those vibes. And a lot of people, like not just us, have been kind of saying that Billy Gunn's got bad energy and doesn't really fit with them anymore. And like Austin Gunn kind of does. And he's like, so like when this week when they're doing this backstage segment we're talking about just now, like Jay White is barely containing his hatred on his face. He's Jay White. He's got kind of an evil face already. But he's been mugging for the camera every time they do one of these, and he just is like doing knowing glances and stuff. And this time he just looked like he could not stand being around these guys. And when he had to do like the catchphrase or whatever, it was like with utter disdain. But Austin Gunn, I think, is legitimately enjoying his time with them, and he's like a rapper.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a real legit rapper. He's a better rapper than Max Caster, actually. So it would like make sense for that to happen too. But then I don't know if you like Colton, who I think is the more natural heel. Yeah. Maybe he stays with Bullet Club. And I mean, this is like a shot in the dark kind of thing. But it was a strong feeling watching this, and it was a sense. They didn't like say anything outwardly about it. It's just a feeling I got.
Sure. Well, I know they're. Well, with all that, I don't know because I don't know.
I mean, I think ultimately it is to just unify. That's the main drive of this is to unify the trios belts. But like
100%.
I think also as an offshoot of this, Austin Gunn might do his like babyface turn.
Yeah, I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want to care about this at all. I want the only end product here to be the Acclaimed are back on their own as a 2-person tag team. I would
be very excited about the match, about them facing each, especially if Juice is back. I don't know how long he's out for.
The match is fine, but like, I don't like the trios titles. I don't want Billy Gunn anywhere near the Acclaimed. I like the Acclaimed on their own. I want them to be back in the tag title picture. Right now, they obviously can't because Sting's retiring, right? So they're a little preoccupied.
Yeah, that's a little tied up.
It's just I don't like. There's people in that I don't want in that. I don't know. It just feels like
I don't like them as a group.
There's just,
but I like all of the individual parts except for Billy Gunn.
It's just so bottlenecked right now. Like where?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't feel that way as much either. But they put them on every show to do just like a a backstage segment that doesn't really say
Why are-
anything.
why are there no-
besides show you that Jay White really probably hates these guys? Like,
Yeah, and he's throwing his weight
but
around.
I've gotten that from the 4 other times they've done it. They
Sure.
didn't need to do it again.
Right. Why are there no trios title contenders? There's rankings. So why is no one like, hey, we're the number 1 trio
Yeah.
tag team?
Yeah.
There's 2 sets of trios
Like
tag
anything.
teams that are not
Why
being
aren't they going
defended.
after the Kingdom? Didn't they get together to go after the Kingdom?
Apparently.
Wasn't that was the plan?
Yeah,
The whole reason they're together was because mutual hatred of the Undisputed Kingdom.
Right.
They have not done a thing with them.
Yeah, but who would be the third guy in the kingdom?
Yeah.
Who would be the third guy?
Well, you can do.
They're all preoccupied.
No, you could Wardlow, Roddy Strong, like
Well, Roddy's busy. Wardlow's busy.
Wardlow-
He's mad again.
Wardlow's kind of busy.
Wardlow's mad again.
Yeah, but like
He's in a different. We'll get to
I'm
that.
not even saying you have to necessarily do like a feud that's going to blow off in a particular match, but
Yeah.
like they got together because of the Undisputed Kingdom.
Sure.
And then they have not done anything except for like do like funny segments with each other backstage.
Yeah, they're fun.
Like, I don't.
They're a hoot and a holler. It's a big bunch of nothing that said that the Acclaimed are going to team up with Austin Gunn on Collision in a trios match, and who gives a shit?
I hope that wherever they're going with it, it happens soon because I like everybody in this.
I hope they do it on Dynamite this week.
but it's yeah,
Trio
me too.
titles for trio titles.
Yeah,
Shotgun on a pole match. They don't have those anymore. Something on a pole match.
Judy Bagwell on a pole. They should do every stepped up match should have Judy Bagwell on a pole. It's my all-time favorite.
I forgot about that.
Oh, how could you? Man?
That's funny. That's
Off is the
hysterical.
stuff.
They were doing a lot of shark cage
Eric Bischoff
matches
had
for a while.
one good idea, the NWO, and like everything,
I thought
his
you were going to
entire
say Judy
career.
Bagwell on a pole. Like, that's a terrible idea.
I think that had to be Russo. That had to be a Vince Russo. Judy Bagwell on a pole.
Well, when you put something on a pole, doesn't that mean you could use it in the match?
That's
then?
historically yes.
So what do you do when you get
And
Judy?
like if I remember correctly, she wasn't really on a pole either. She was.
No.
They called it that, but she was like on a forklift,
yeah,
like a
it was
pallet
more of
on
a Shark
forklift or
Tank
something.
situation.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I gotta go find that. I haven't seen that in a hot minute. Chris Statlander versus Sky Blue.
My match of the night. I thought it
wasn't bad.
I thought it was the best match of the night. I thought it was Sky Blue's best match of her career.
100%.
And
100%.
I've seen a lot of her indie stuff too, and like
super
this is
physical.
better. Chris Statlander. Everybody that faces Chris Statlander has their best match of their career.
Yeah.
She should be in the conversation for the world title. Like we are guilty of this too. When we were talking about like Mercedes Moné,
Yeah.
and how stacked the top of that division is going to be with like.
Did we
when you
omit
got-
her?
Like all the people that are coming back and stuff, and it just doesn't occur to me because she's been on that like second tier with that title for so long. She's the best wrestler like in the women's division. She's one of the best wrestlers in the company.
Yeah.
Every single person that wrestles her has their best match.
Yeah.
That's Orange Cassidy. That's like the biggest sign of somebody who's awesome.
Sure.
Everything she does looks real.
Yeah.
She never looks like she's like doing the Mortal Kombat, waiting for somebody to hit her thing, the finish him thing that everybody does to
Right.
some extent. She doesn't. She like warps into position all the time. Is he making
No, it's fine.
my
I heard a bowl.
my pig dog snorting in the background?
He's
there?
so sleepy. He's so sleepy.
But she's awesome. Like
They had awesome.
I hope it gets to be on that level of like title contention this year. I mean, I guess she's been hurt enough times that could be the excuse that like we couldn't put her there because she had like the knee thing and then the knee thing happened again and she missed big chunks of time.
Yeah.
But man, I think she's just the best wrestler
She's good.
in the women's division.
I don't hate that while the top of the card and the impending even deeper top of the card is about to show up, that they're giving her a lot of character work to do.
Yeah.
It's very like what Kurt Angle did when he was hurt,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like show the personality.
And she's good at that stuff too. Like
that's what she's in right now.
Yeah.
She's in like this isn't designed to be like 5-star classic matches kind of thing, but this was an awesome.
This match was.
It was an awesome
really
big
good.
woman, little woman chemistry match, and
Sky Blue's best.
like I said, very physical. Everybody used their outside sources very well.
Yeah.
It all made sense. Nothing seemed forced. Everyone hit their spots.
Yeah, finish was Julia Hart's clocked Statlander upside the head with the TNT title or TBS title. And then Sky Blue hit the best looking cold blue I think she's ever done.
Yeah. It is dope how she does that.
Yeah.
Why was Stokely trying to use handcuffs when Statlander was clearly in? So Stokely Hathaway was trying to get Chris Statlander to handcuff Sky Blue, but Chris Statlander was clearly like winning.
Like that's their ongoing thing.
Yeah, but
Stokely just always is like. So the story they've been telling is like Stokely's his mindset has always been, and then like throughout his career in kayfabe at least, is that like you just always cheat no matter what's going on,
even though
like,
she's winning.
Yeah, just cheat because it's the only thing that guarantees you a victory or whatever. And Statlander's like the most goody two shoes person outside of Willow Nightingale, who is also in this faction. So like. Yeah. The push and pull of like, I think what's going to come of it is that Stoke is going to learn the error of his ways eventually, because that's what they're trying to. That's what they're like. That's what Statlander's trying to have happen. She's like, I like you. I enjoy having you here as my manager, and you're helpful. But you got to learn
just shedding bad habits,
cheating all the time.
See.
Like,
okay,
and this time it actually cost her because arguing with Stoke about the handcuffs, or he had a chain wrapped around his fist for a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like it distracted Statlander, which led to the belt shot, which led to the pin.
Sure.
Big win for
Sky
Blue too.
Yeah. I mean, she keeps getting better.
I like most improved player this year for me. She's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, her character
I was
works
not a
good.
big fan of hers before at all, and now I'm like, whoa, she's good.
And they're not subtle with that. Sometimes they'll shove people down your throat that you're just like, how long do I felt like that with like. Not that he's bad by any means, because I love him, but for a while, Daniel Garcia, it's like, how many times do I got to watch this guy main event the damn show? Like, I want to watch, and at the time, that's when they had Punk, then Cole, and Danielson.
I definitely felt the Sky Blue thing for a while. It was like,
and you're same thing.
But that one now, in retrospect, I'm like, okay, well, maybe that was the move, because the thing I was bitching about Maxine Dupree is like, well, you need to just get her more matches before you have her on Raw, because matches are the only thing that make you better. Well, like. It was a different level of that, but like I think the being in the ring nonstop is what got
100%
Sky Blue to be where she's at now. She got to wrestle like Tony Storm and Riho.
But she's also like flying out and doing indies and stuff. Homegirl was moving.
Absolutely.
So
Chicago
no shit. And it's paying off. So it's cool.
Absolutely.
So they're developing new stars. They're bringing in actual good stars. Like what you said a couple weeks ago is trending in the right direction, that this is going to be a goddamn boom period for women's
100%.
wrestling.
And this was my, like I said, match of the night. It was
very
tight.
good.
There was no fat to trim. No downtime.
No.
Everybody, the interference happened. It was all like smoothly done too. Like everybody did their job.
Everything made sense.
It was great.
Everything made sense.
What did not make sense was what followed.
You talking about Shaggy and Scoob? Jackson?
Is that where? I'm sorry, I was going on to the Jericho.
I want to get there as badly as you do.
Yeah. No, but I do want to talk about this because this part of the Young Bucks thing made me laugh out loud. So there you can, if you want to break it down.
No, I'd rather not.
So the Matthew and Nicholas are still on the hunt. Yes, Shaggy and Scoob still on the hunt for Sting. They find, it made me think of you, Dave, because they find Sting's locker room, which was labeled Sting.
How else would he know where to go?
And they think they have him. Right before they break in, Matthew says to Nicholas, hold on, before we go, we need to like gather ourselves before we go crashing in, because did you see the promo that Sting cut last week? Like he's kind of scary. I think he's a little unhinged, so we need to be careful. And Nicholas is like, oh, okay. And then they just broke it anyway. But but I like that they pointed out that it was scary Sting. So they break into the office. There's nobody in there. It's abandoned, except there is like a red kind of light happening, and foreshadowing for the end of the episode. There's a bunch of black baseball bats hanging from the ceiling.
Plus Sting's members only jacket was hanging in the corner.
And the thing that made me laugh out loud is they walk into this like clearly staged crazy room that's got like hanging bats from the ceiling, and Nicholas goes, "Hey, you think this is mind games?" He's doing a really good job being the dumber of the two, like douchey boss guys. But that was to foreshadow what was to come. At the end of the episode,
which was clear as day when like
you know what, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it coming.
I did. Well, I had put it out of my head as a possibility because I didn't think it was a chance. Because I'm like, oh, he's 65.
Yeah,
like, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get there. But
we get past.
I didn't catch that as foreshadowing, but yeah, that's good.
I thought of that well after that the bats were hanging from.
That makes sense.
Like,
it tracks.
But I didn't think that like I didn't think they would. Well, yeah, we'll get to it. I think that Jericho Atlantis Jr. match was next.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was.
So like first half of the match was just trash. Second half was like okay.
Yeah.
But the thing you pointed out a couple of weeks ago, I can't watch Chris Jericho without like just being constantly on edge because I feel like he's going to the other shoe's going to drop. He's going to get hurt. He's going to hurt somebody else.
Yes.
Because he just can't do the stuff anymore.
1000%.
The assholes in Alabama gave this is awesome chant.
What?
Like they're quiet for FTR.
Yeah.
They're quiet for everything but Will Ospreay, and then they're giving.
That felt like people who chant "You got this" to people who are on like like they're on like hour 5 of running the marathon.
So you think it was like
like you got
we're
this
behind
buddy?
you?
Yeah, it didn't feel like
it just that
raucous,
would make more
like
sense for this match.
It's like this is awesome.
Atlantis Jr. was good. I mean, he clearly would be good if in a lucha match with.
I don't think he's
else.
had a lot of time, and I think that was maybe first time or one of his first.
I think he's
times
super young.
He's super young. He's not accustomed to American television.
No,
not the style.
Oh yeah, the hard cam stuff.
Yeah, he was working, his style. I have so many things. As is tradition with Chris Jericho matches, I have so many things that were wrong with this. I
just wish it was on Rampage. Instead, although Rampage has been great lately, so
I would like Chris Jericho off. So why is this where it is on the card? I guess it's to like they get up to go to the bathroom kind of match.
Yeah, I mean it's the death spot. So generally that is where they stick the women, which is nice that they didn't this time.
And
because they didn't have a main event though, so I guess it's not really. It still would be considered the death spot.
Make the women a main event.
Yeah, yes.
like the wrestling match main event. But like again, I don't get it, but Chris Jericho still gets a fucking ovation.
He does.
Like, people love singing that goddamn song, and they love seeing Chris Jericho, and so I guess there's something to that.
I mean, half the crowd hates his guts, though, too. Like, it's palpable that people are like, okay, we were already tired of you, and you're also probably kind of a creep at the very minimum. I don't want to like lay blame because nobody ever officially accused him of anything, but there's like enough stuff out there that it's like, okay, you probably were just at the least kind of a creepy dude.
Yeah,
like so,
I didn't even think of any of that.
That was when he first started getting booze. When it went to New York right after that.
Was that when they were chanting NDR?
New York, the New York crowd like let him have it for multiple things, but the for the
NDA, the creepy behavior. What did I say? NDR. What the hell's an NDR? DNRs, do not resuscitate.
Yeah, that's a do not resuscitate. I wish Jericho had one of those.
I got my acronyms all wrong. But he comes out as Lionheart Chris Jericho.
Of course, he loves
and you're never gonna believe this. He did all the same shit that all of his other characters do. He did not do a single
reinvention.
Not a single lion tamer. He did multiple walls of Jericho, and they were.
You know what? This dude would have been able to take a full real lion tamer too.
Chris,
an 18-year-old luchador is like the best dude. It's where he developed the thing. Was when he was wrestling lucha.
You're never bendier than when you're 18 either. So, and he tried right at the end to like put his knee down, but. Even Excalibur, who knows every word of wrestling that's ever existed, never once uttered the phrase lion tamer.
No, because it wasn't.
No, absolutely, it was not a lion tamer. He did... All right.
You know what he did say?
What's that?
Nick Wayne, a lot of times.
During this match, too. I didn't get how this was supposed to be I respect your father, so I'm going to have a match with you, but then, like, he slaps the kid away. Like, he doesn't take a handshake.
I think he was I'm with you here that he didn't really tell the story correctly, but like I think what he probably was going for was because he in the terrible promo he was like I'll teach you how we do things in North American wrestling and I'm gonna teach you a little lesson or two about violence. Right. So I think the idea was like my buddy's son is a wrestler, but he needs to understand like how violent you got to be or what it takes to make it or whatever.
Totally.
It could have been told a million ways.
How you just explained it now is
he didn't,
more sensical.
Because that promo was so trash that like
I didn't even.
It was hard to figure out what story he was going for.
Yeah,
I thought of this way after the fact. I was like, oh, so that's probably what he was trying to do.
Yeah,
but like it didn't make sense.
Well, traditionally AEW style, they don't do 2 takes of promos. If they just pre-tape this,
that was a live one. I will give him
fucking tape it. Like you don't have to be live.
Well, Jericho usually is okay for a promo. Like,
well, apparently here we go.
Now I guess that part of his repertoire is going away too.
But credit where credit's due. He did throw a hell of a top rope Hurricane Rana.
Yeah,
it looked awesome. That's the one thing he did do right. Atlantis Jr. did the I don't know, it wasn't exactly like a roll through like deadlift German suplex like Chad Gable does.
Yeah.
But he deadlifted Chris Jericho. Like Chris Jericho passed out and he was trying to get him in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And
it was slow. It was the slow one like slow. Gable does too. It was, similar spot.
Jericho just kind of like corpsed completely on him. And I'm like, oh no.
Do you think that was? I just assumed he was ragdolling for the spot, but you think he was like sandbagging?
I don't think he was. I just think he. No, but just how his body looked, like he
looks like a sandbag.
He could be sell him at Home Depot as hurricane proofing your home. But no, I've seen guys look a little like, oh no, I'm about to get German suplex, and he just...
Oh yeah, he didn't do the I'm scared face or anything.
No, it's
he
like
definitely dead-eyed it.
It's like your internet dropped out and your character just like stayed in that position kind of thing. But this kid tried. He, as his tradition with Chris Jericho matches, it's like you're wrestling a sack of potatoes. It's the best analogy we're going to find. So I'm going to say it 100 times. And like he brought a sack of potatoes to like a 2.5-star match. Chris Jericho needs to learn when he's the Lionheart Chris Jericho, he cannot do Walls of Jericho and the goddamn Judas effect.
It is pointless. Like it's just tights and his music.
Yeah, just be Chris Jericho.
I was happy to hear Rob Zombie.
Yeah, that's
cool.
fun.
That was his.
But like, have you noticed the trend with the only thing we like about him is when he comes
music.
out?
Yeah,
it's his music, and like his tights aren't even.
The finish, I didn't really like. I mean, I understand what they were doing, but like. We haven't built Atlantis up as this like dude that won't ever quit kind of thing. And his Atlantis Jr.'s dad was cornering him, and when Jericho got him in the walls, like loose Boston Crab, really.
After the Hope spot,
which
they do every time he does that now. He puts the Walls of Jericho on. The guy who's in it elbow walks his way to the ropes. He's about to get to the ropes, and Jericho walks him back, and then he kneels into it further.
And that only works like when you're really emotionally invested in a match, which I have not been in a Chris Jericho match in 2 years.
No, not at all. I couldn't care less. Now that you say it, that we don't care about these characters enough for this finish to make sense, I agree with you now. I did like it initially.
It's a cool spot.
Because I haven't... When's the last time I did it? Like when for Bret Hart and Bob Backlund at Survivor Series?
Atlantis Jr.'s dad threw in the towel because he knows his son isn't going to quit. But like that beat or that spot I like as a thing. Like you said, we never see it. It's a cool thing, something new. But I'd rather you use that for somebody who we've established won't quit. If it's like Moxley and Kingston become friends again, and one's cornering the other, and one of those guys is like if Eddie Kingston is like getting choked out,
just throw the towel in, dog. Just throw in the towel, dog.
Yeah.
Would you fight me, dog?
Pop. My little baby chops. Pop now.
It's weird. That was my Claudio impression. What'd you think?
Claudio, somebody gave him a script this week for they cut a promo on Collision. Watching when you walked in today. I was like, hey, it was the same. Mox gave him the same cue, and he looked at him like, fucking better good at this time. And it was what am I thinking? And he actually it made sense. He said what he said. It made sense. And he clearly had done his homework and stuff.
I'm just thinking of that Simpsons. When I step on your foot, you say Homer Thompson.
That's what I thought was happening. Like that exact Simpsons thing is what I thought was happening too. Because Moxley did the what am I thinking right now? And there was like a pregnant pause.
Yeah.
There was like a longer pause than you would expect. And Moxley had his face was like, dude. Not again. Yeah. You better. Did you read the thing I gave you? Like, just say the thing I gave you. But he did. He pulled it off.
That's good. Chris Jericho, go away. Retire.
Go do your. Your weekend covers and the Jericho Cruise and all your other ventures. Just go be away. They can put you in the WWE Hall of Fame then, and just it's time to hang it up.
He can come back to the Fed. I would welcome him back to the Fed.
Well, if he's going to work WWE matches, yeah, he can do those.
Yeah.
He can't do AEW matches. He's going to kill himself or somebody else.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Speaking of, I think you did say you saw the one match from Collision. Oh, Sammy Guevara, Will Hobbs, baby. They tried killing each other. That was awesome.
The only spot I saw is when the big one.
Did you see the camera, the phone camera one where like it's shot in vertical, so you like all you see is Will Hobbs on the outside on the table. You can't see Sammy Guevara, and you just see him come flying out of what looks like the heavens.
Yeah,
and smashing through.
So this is the
it had to be 20 feet.
So it was a giant ladder swanton, right?
Yes, yeah.
And Will Hobbs is outside on the table.
Yeah.
I don't get why guys do such extravagant spots like that, because the point of that is to be remembered for it, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many of them, and like you watch.
That one was above and beyond.
Yeah, but
it was it was way higher than.
But is that the biggest ladder spot you're going to remember Sammy Guevara ever doing?
No, but I do remember all of his ladder spots. Like I remember his cutter in midair off the ladder to Cody.
The one I remember.
He's got a lot of those, but I do remember them. Like he's a memorable wrestler.
But all these years later, like what Jeff Hardy ladder spots do you remember? It was like 3 or 4. And he did one like every week.
Yeah, like I think Sammy is better at this stuff than Jeff Hardy ever was. Jeff Hardy was the guy that first did it, so props to him and everything.
Yeah. I'm not saying better or not better,
but I think these are more memorable than Jeff Hardy.
I hope you're right, but like
to me, I only speak for myself.
But like to like legacy and
he's gonna kill himself. He's doing absolutely insane shit.
But like he just did the one I mentioned the other week. I'm never gonna do the math correctly. The one where he does like 2 full rotations, and then he did that. He landed on Sting when Sting was supposed to get out of the way.
It's 450 and
like that should be like up there, you know. But like I'm like Sammy does so many of these goddamn things that like
I thought it was incredible. My only gripe about it was that it didn't finish the match. Like Hobbs was able to come out. Like I'm not saying recover from. I guess it makes Hobbs look like more of a badass too.
I'm not saying they're not memorable. It's just like it's just so much, and like he's making all this. He has to elevate his matches to the point where he's hitting Jeff Hardy levels where like what the hell is this guy going to do? He's going to have to jump off of the roof of the building at some point.
He's very good in the ring otherwise too. But
which is why are you doing that stuff? And his finisher
I look at more like I appreciate it because I think it looks incredible. I enjoy the shit out of it.
I'm not saying I don't appreciate it. I'm just saying it is trending in a direction where he is making such an extravagant thing look relatively meaningless in the grand scope of it. I can see that. And his finisher's not even a goddamn high spot. It's a fucking torture rack.
Yeah.
Go to sleep. Like, how is your finisher not? How are you not like...
The cutter should be his finisher. I think he's got the best cutter in wrestling.
Yeah.
But he uses it as like a setup thing.
He's so good and like, I think you're right. I think there's going to be a...
He needs
big injury. I can't
believe I'm to say this, but he needs to do kind of what Darby has been doing, where he does like he's gonna always do his crazy spots.
Yeah.
But most of Darby's matches are like catch as catch can wrestling matches.
Sure.
He's very good at that. So he highlights that for most of the match, and then does a bunch of like psychology stuff, and then he does his dive. Like that's probably not gonna kill him because the way he does it, it looks like it should, but he's so good at it.
Yeah.
Like so, just stick to a couple of those spots. Sammy always does seem like he's trying to top himself, which is very dangerous for his future. Like,
but also too, like
this spot we're talking about here was very dangerous.
and like for what?
For Collision, like
for Collision. That's my point. Like
half as many viewers as Dynamite. Like I said, I loved it, but you're right. He's gonna hurt himself.
I'm not saying I like watching all of them, but like even the big Jeff Hardy spots, like they were all on like all the big ones I remember from WrestleMania.
And it didn't work out great for Jeff Hardy, long term either.
So. No, not at all. So and that poor bastard's still doing them. I say bastard lovingly, but like because I don't want these guys to get hurt, but like some of these guys, like the Hardys, come from the era where we have to do this, or like that's our thing.
Yeah,
we have to be these big high flyers.
Jeff Hardy, like he was the guy. I mean, he was the first guy doing that stuff in America on TV.
Right, but even then, like he's calmed down a little bit when they became world champ and stuff like that. But like you know, there's a litany of other things.
Well, Sammy probably feels like he has to now reestablish himself away from Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
That really has hampered that poor dude. Like
He should start cosplaying as Jericho, old Jericho gimmicks, and still just doing the Sammy Guevara moveset. Because
just have Sammy Guevara wrestle all the matches that Chris Jericho is getting booked into. Just put Sammy in there and like just do all his moves. We'll just pretend you're Jericho from 1997.
Yeah, just like a poorly cast stunt double.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. It'd
be a lot more interesting. Yeah. I would have definitely rather seen Atlantis Jr. versus Sammy Guevara than I did Chris Jericho.
You mean Chris Jericho? Wink, wink.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yes.
So that was the penultimate match. Was Jericho, Atlantis Jr., and they finished the main event, quote unquote, of the show this week was segment because it was the go home show for the pay-per-view. So they finished it with the Young Bucks come out to the ring to their incredible music. I love so much. Brandishing their white baseball bats. As they walk around the ring, there's a bunch of fans wearing Sting masks. And I didn't see this one coming either. I probably should have, but one of the fans after Nicholas Jackson like whips the mask off of one fan's. It's obviously like a indie wrestler or something. Rips the mask off of his face. The dude next to him removes his, and it's Darby Allin doing the old Sting in the audience wearing the Sting mask spot. It was cool to see that. So then Darby comes over, attacks them. They get the better of him because it's 2-on-1, and hit the EVP trigger, and then Flair's music hits, and
for reasons
he comes down. The Bucks and Flair clearly have discussed this, like something they were going to do. They hand Flair the baseball bat and then try to get him to do what they said. This is the plan. This is what we plan on doing. Hitting Darby in the head with the bat. Flair, as I guessed last week would happen, he just turned on the Bucks immediately and gave Nicholas Jackson a thumb to the eye, and then Matthew Jackson the worst punches I've ever seen in my life, worst work punches of all time, which is too bad because Ric Flair used to be one of the best work punches in all of wrestling, but he's 80.
The mighty have fallen.
So Flair turns on them, then he gets nutted by Matthew Jackson from behind, and so now he's down. Did they get one of them back up in the EVP trigger, or did the music just hit?
No, the music hit and the Bucks walk up the ramp.
So then Sting's music hits, the snow, dark, the whole ambiance thing. The Bucks are like, all right, we're going to cut him off at the pass. We're going to ambush him. They run up the ramp to the entrance where they're expecting Sting to come out from. AEW they did a nice job here, production wise. Not letting you see what really was happening because I didn't see it coming. Sting comes down from the rafters. It was incredible. It made me feel like I was 14 years old or something. 15 years old.
I had the exact same feeling. I had a feeling it was coming throughout the show. Because they kept saying it's his last appearance. It's his last appearance. I'm like,
he was up there, rafters of an arena.
He came down and they shot it very. It was kind of funny, because like you were saying, they show the Young Bucks facing the ramp, waiting for Sting to come out, and so you see him from their backs looking at the stage because we're just waiting for him to walk out, and then at some point the cameraman gets on the other side. And we're looking at the front of the Young Bucks now. Now we could see the ring, and you see, I don't know if we were supposed to see this, but you see, I think Darby helping Sting with his harness or whatever.
I was going to say Darby. He's amazing. It was his job evidently to get the harness off, which in the past in WCW days, that was always kind of a problem. And when they did that, it could be like a thing that you fumble with. It's not an easy thing to do.
No.
Darby had it off in 2 seconds.
Right away.
He's unbelievable. He's good at everything.
It's almost as if he's trained in working with harnesses after scaling or descending large things, Yeah. Mount Everest jokes.
He didn't do Everest yet, right? Because I think I just heard him this week saying death is the only thing that's going to keep me from scaling Everest.
It'd be a real big bummer if he missed Sting's last match because he got stuck.
Yeah,
frozen.
I mean, I don't think
mountain.
he's climbing Everest between today and Sunday. That would suck. You never know. It's
Not with that
but he's good at everything. That dude,
Everything he touches, yeah.
every job they give him, he knocks it out of the park. But then,
including the pretty dope looking, like you've seen it 100 times, but like.
I never get tired of the coffin drop.
Yeah, so Sting just beats up the. So they have a bat fight.
It's
and
awesome. Make big clanging noises like
metal
when
bat
they
fight.
Went to bat, white bats versus black bats,
which I really did like.
Sting looked like he was like 35 years old again.
He did look young. Yes,
awesome.
he did.
He's incredible.
He didn't have his like I'm going to the VFW Hall outfit on like he usually does, like his loose fitting.
I heard
pants.
somebody say Sting is the least embarrassing 65-year-old wrestler in the history of the world.
100%. Well, look at the alternative, the guy in the ring that could barely move. Granted, he's a little older than him, but like,
I mean, I guess Sting might like when now that he's going to be retired, he could like start a podcast and have some weird takes about stuff, but I don't think he will. I think he's just a good dude. Did you read the Players Tribune article that Darby did?
Nope.
I linked you, but you were sick, so I figured you probably weren't going to read it. Darby wrote
couldn't even see straight this week.
Very lovely article for the Players
About
Tribune
Sting?
about Sting.
Oh.
About how meeting him and how like they always tell you don't meet your heroes, but he's like, this was like he became my hero when I met him. I was always a fan, but like he was like, I've never seen this in wrestling. Wrestling can be a kind of a dark place to do for your work. Like a lot of like shit heels trying to stab you in the back at every turn, always worried about how they look. And he's like, I found out I was working with Sting like the day of. They told me go see Sting. He's in his trailer. I was like, Sting? The hell are you talking about? And he's like, as soon as I got out there with him, he was like, what do you think would look good? How can I help you? This is Sting. So Darby was like, oh, all right. I love this dude. Like, I want him to be, my dad, basically. Yeah. But the article was very moving. I actually teared up a little bit towards the end.
I'll read it now that I'm on the mend.
Yeah, it's great. Darby's a better writer than I would have. He does everything that dude does, man.
He better survive Everest then.
Yeah.
He's got a bright future.
Be really sad if he dies.
If he
on Everest.
Succumbs to the elements.
Yeah.
But dope bat fight. Darby does coffin drop from the middle rope, middle turnbuckle. To the outside, catches the Bucks, and then Sting does a little scorpion death drop.
Yeah, by picture perfect. Again, that's not 65-year-old. This should be hard to do.
Taking back bumps.
Like, he's doing a full back bump. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
He's amazing. I'm glad he's hanging it up now too. Like, we got one more match to get through, and I'm sure it's going to be a doozy. But like,
is it ever?
But then like get through this awesome time in your career, retire, be healthy. He can walk, which is like more than most. Mick Foley or Kevin Nash, those guys like all hobble around. Sting can move still. Like, so our predictions for the upcoming pay-per-view, what looks to be probably the best pay-per-view that AEW has put on in
quite a
while. Definitely the best build, and I'm more invested in this than I have been in a show
quite a while.
In long time, since Revolution 2022, I think. So our predictions, I'll start from I'll go bottom up. They added. I don't think I have the last match that was just added on my list.
What the hell happened to Meat Madness?
The scramble.
Who's hurt?
Miro and Keith Lee was supposed to be back, and there was going to be those two, and neither one got cleared. So they had to scrap Meat Madness and just make a scramble. Yeah, and it's a bunch of the guys that were already announced for Meat Madness, plus like. Jericho for some reason. Yeah. Wardlow, looks like he's probably the guy that's going to win this. I think they said the winner gets a shot at the title, something like that.
Fuck if I know.
There's something like I think it's a number one contender thing.
Okay.
There's something on the line at least. I'm glad
Lance Archer's in it.
Lance Archer, which I would have been fine if him and Meat Madness, if it was just he's a meaty
but if it's for
guy.
some kind of world title match, like what the hell's he doing in there?
Yeah,
he's barely on
Wardlow
TV.
is the dude.
He's the guy that's built for him.
That looks like, and I think that's probably going to be the cool down match. That is also my prediction for this scramble. I don't even know everybody's in it because I didn't see who won. There was like play-in matches too that are on Collision, I think.
Who cares?
I did not.
It's Chris Jericho, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, and then two more TBA.
That's the two more TBA. That was two play-ins. One was like Action Andretti. One was Magnus, who I don't know who that is, and I'm me. and he's an AEW wrestler. It's not
Was it?
Nick Aldis.
I was going to say, isn't he currently the general manager of SmackDown?
Yeah, it's not. He's not doing double duty. It's somebody named Magnus. I don't know. I can't. It's weird that I don't know.
Yeah.
Versus Evan, what's his name? Evan Bourne's real name.
Matt Sydal.
Matt Sydal.
Nick Wayne.
Like, yeah. But, in his 40s. I love Matt Sydal. Great hand. Good guy to have on your roster is like a...
He messed up the first day he was there.
Mid-card fodder.
Remember the first thing he did that he messed up? He was in the Casino Battle Royale.
There was a ton of stuff
he was
going wrong back then.
The Casino Battle Royale, he was the Joker. And he comes in and he's about to do his shooting star, and
forgot about
his feet slipped out completely from under him, and you're like, "Oh, you're done."
Oh Lord! But he's been good since.
But he could have been like a thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think because of that, he immediately was like lower mid card.
Absolutely.
But that's where this match is. That like you got Matt Sydal and a AEW wrestler that I have never heard of.
Magnus.
Magnus.
You've never heard?
I think actually I'm going to go against the grain for my prediction for this match just because I want Hobbs to win. So I'm going to pick him, even though I know Wardlow's
going to win.
I'll take Hobbs just to switch it up and not go with a super obvious choice. Plus, I don't want Hobbs to look anything but awesome. I like him better than Wardlow.
Right.
Outside of that incredible promo last week, just Hobbs. I like Hobbs more.
Yeah.
Just as a performer.
Right.
So I'm pulling for him, I think. But that'll be my pick as well.
Okay.
We got FTR versus BCC, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli.
I kind of want... Oh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I kind of want Moxley and Claudio to win. And I think given the charges that are going on in Camp FTR, from a legal standpoint, I think that's going to. And I think this is... They got to heat back up. I think this is a good place to keep heating them back up.
I think it's been. I mean, as much as the match from earlier in the show on Dynamite, I thought didn't need to exist, and it was like the weakest of their matches. This feud has been awesome.
Yeah,
it's been great,
and it came out of nowhere too, which is surprising.
I feel like it's heated both of them up quite a bit because FTR was starting to not get those FTR pops anymore. Right. Dex was having to do the "let's fucking go" every time they came out But now, after this run of awesome chemistry matches, it's heating them both up.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm with you too. I think I think they are going to. Blackpool Combat Club is going to win because I think there's not just because of the potential for Cash not being there going forward, but I do think they're going to try to do something with Mox and Claudio as a tag team going forward.
Right.
Particularly after the promo that they cut on Collision that I was telling you about.
Right.
It seemed like that they want to stick in that division for a while, which is cool. It's like they've been great so far.
I'm good with it. What if they come out challenging the Bucks right away for the tag titles?
I kind of.
That's not bad.
I think they might. I think that might be the first Bucks post feud.
That's not bad.
Assuming that the Bucks are the champs.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we got that. Ospreay versus
Takeshita.
Konosuke Takeshita in what Don Callis said is going to be the match of the decade.
He might be right.
Yeah, could be.
He might be right. Athletically, I can't imagine much is going to touch it.
Who you got?
I got Takeshita in a screwy fashion.
Yeah, I'm
literally.
Exactly. I got Takeshita very specifically by way of
screwy driver.
Don Callis. Yeah. Screwdriver to the middle of Will Ospreay's forehead to start Ospreay's first official feud in AEW and get him out of the Callis family because he's just people want to cheer for that dude. I can't as much as I want to say that I'm looking most forward to the Sting retirement or even the world title match. I'm looking most forward to this match just because as a between the ropes nerd.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There are very few match graphics you could throw up any two performers on Earth that would get me as excited as this.
It's going to be
perfect pairing for.
It's going to be very, very good. It also keeps Takeshita good. I was going to say good, but
strong, booked
strong, not defeated, undefeated. Jesus
beat
Christ,
Darby. Darby's a main event guy.
and it gives I don't know. It just gives more depth to the story for it to be a screwy finish in favor of
Yeah,
Takeshita.
I mean, it all makes sense. As long as we get like 25 minutes of incredible.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry,
match
we will
first, and before he does the. What do you think the spot's gonna be? Where how's he gonna hit him? Have him up in the Osprey up in his finish thing on his shoulder, or do you think?
Could be. That seems to.
I'm gonna say Oz Cutter. He goes for an Oz Cutter. Callis gets up on the apron and pops him in the head.
You gotta time that right.
Don Callis is professional.
I hope you. Otherwise, it's staying in his head and he's a dead man.
Also, Will Ospreay is so professional that even if Callis didn't get there, he would probably like make it happen. Like
that would look cool because it will look terrifying.
That's why I picked it because it's the coolest thing I can think of.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
You mentioned, and then we got the TNT title match. The Patriarch Christian Cage against Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
I think Christian's going to retain.
How?
Cheating, but like
how?
I think I don't even know if I should say retain. I think he's going to walk away with the title belt. And I don't know if I like don't want that either. Like I love the push that Danny Garcia's got, and I want him to continue being like at this end of like the card and being featured on pay-per-views and stuff and given these kinds of stories. I wouldn't mind this feud continuing, honestly.
I think it's going
to. That's why one of the reasons I think Christian might retain here.
Yeah.
Because I do think we're going to see a couple of title changes on this card. So I think letting Christian keep it, furthering the story, maybe have like his heavies beat the hell out of Daddy Magic or something to add more fuel to that already like super hot burning blood feud fire, because I would like this to continue. And they're so good together, and like
it's going.
We haven't had it enough yet, so like
it's going to continue.
And for it to continue, I think the best way to do that would be to keep it on the heel, keep the title on the bad guy,
right, and also have Edge be the one that cost Daniel Garcia the title.
That is definitely on the table.
Yeah, that's
why you asked me how. Yeah, okay.
That's 100% what I would do.
I think so too.
Because then you get a deeper roster with the faction.
Yeah.
And then it's a bigger uphill climb for Daniel Garcia and Danny Magic.
Yeah.
So it's just well built so far. Keep building it well. Don't pay it off yet.
Another great match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Young wrestling genius against an older wrestling genius.
Yeah.
We got the Continental Crown title match, belt versus handshake. Edward against the American Dragon. I up until Wednesday night was pretty sure that Bryan Danielson was going over. Now I'm not. I feel pretty confident that Edward is retaining.
Can he just win a goddamn title?
Getting his hand shook.
Can he please just win something?
I think that the biggest...
I don't care if he wants to or not.
Well, the biggest detractor is I think he doesn't. I think he won't. He says no.
But that's how you make he wants to make guys, right? So how do you make a guy? Yeah. You become like an unreasonably difficult like hurdle to climb.
Yeah.
And
he's been able to do that without the title. Like that MJF...
he didn't make MJF.
As far as in-ring goes, that was the match that made me go, okay, MJF is among the best in the world.
Right.
And it
wasn't MJF already world champion going into that match?
Yeah, but I'm talking about like Bryan Danielson helps everybody he works with.
I'm not saying he doesn't.
Elevates them. I'm not saying it made MJF, but it did in a way. It made me see him in a way that I never saw him before.
Put it this way. If Kingston beats Danielson in this match, it does not do anything for Kingston.
No, I would rather see...
if Danielson wins the title and they do this again in 3 months, and then Kingston
By the way,
takes
I think
the title,
this is going to be fun as hell.
They
are very good storytellers. And when Danielson is a psycho, and Kingston, as limited as he is in the ring, he's good at getting sympathy from like the crowd and telling the story.
He's good at those chops, which is also good to see if Brett is ready to be taken out of the air. You just pat it. Just pat it. Give it a pat.
But like their match in the Eddie Kingston's a bum first match from the Continental Classic was good.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the I Finally Beat You, was good.
I just want Daniels
It's better
to win
than
a
the
title.
final.
That's all. That's all I care. That's the only thing I want. Put a damn title on your waist,
Yeah,
please.
I think he doesn't want it.
I don't care what he wants at this point. I'm tired of the.
I think he's going to be the head booker of AEW eventually, but
Yeah.
I think he wants that.
I just want the
I don't think
thing.
he wants a belt.
I want the things I want, and I want him to win. So
Yeah,
I'm
I would
gonna
like to see him as a
be
world
real salty.
champion before he retires.
Absolutely.
But like, there's one belt I want to see him. I don't care about him having the crown, the Continental Crown. I want him to have the big gold.
Right, but
AEW.
yeah, until he does, then let's make a damn division. It's across 3 different companies. It's like what he would love. He gets to go defend all over the world anyway.
Yeah, I mean he does it regardless, right?
Yeah, so make it fun for the rest of us.
Women's World Title, Timeless Tony against Deonna Purrazzo. Another match I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Timeless Tony retains.
I think she has to.
I think because there's as great as Purrazzo has been, and everything that wasn't last week's match, because I mean she was hamstrung there. She's been awesome, and she feels like a real threat. I think there's a chance she could win the title.
Right.
But I still think that they're going to stick with Toni Storm because I think they're going to want to do a bigger name thing, whether it be Mercedes Moné or like a returning hater. I think I'm feeling more that's going to be the person that takes the belt off of their most over woman currently.
Well, they have to make her more over because when other ladies start coming back, Toni Storm is going to be like the 5th or 6th most credible person on her own roster.
Yeah. Well, I think this is going to help because I think
I agree.
Part of the story that's going to be told here is we're going to see old Toni Storm in the ring.
Yeah.
And that's going to help her. That's been the weakest part of her game in the last 4 months or whatever is the in ring stuff, which she's always been like awesome at.
Yeah.
I think we'll see that here too.
Well, she changed her whole style up to service her gimmick.
Yeah. But then within this story, it's been I want to see the old Tony like the Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah.
I want to see that Tony back in the ring, and I think that like Purrazzo will probably dominate for the first part of the match, and that will be essentially what brings that like Toni Storm to the surface. That like at least in ring, I don't think she's given up the character or anything.
No, I don't know how much older you can get. She's timeless.
But like, yeah, she's just like a character story that they've actually done consistently.
She's retaining.
So I think she's going to retain and probably
1,000%.
drop it to Mercedes. To be honest.
No good.
Yeah, fuck yes, the best women's wrestler in the world. Yeah,
is Rhea Ripley. Ripley. What?
No, like Rhea. Don't get me wrong. Rhea Ripley's got like tons of charisma, and she's like super fun to watch. She's not like top 20 wrestler.
Anyway, what's next? I couldn't disagree with you harder on that. I don't want to spend time on it right now. International champion match.
Title. Yeah. Orange Cassidy for Roddy Strong.
If Roderick Strong doesn't win, he should quit.
100%. I'm picking Roddy Strong here too, but like the only story they've been telling is like, okay, Roderick Strong is winning. They need to give the Kingdom some gold to have just for visual sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been beating the shit out of Orange Cassidy every week, usually twice a week. For several weeks now.
Right.
It doesn't quite feel like it did the first time they did the breaking down of Orange Cassidy story when, the first time he held the title.
Yeah.
But like, Strong's got to win here.
I hope so.
Like he will come out looking like such a pussy if he doesn't win this match. So, it'll be another great match, I'm sure. Like I love Roderick Strong.
Is again I say this 50 times a week. They have no problem putting great matches on. Just finish the story correctly.
This pay-per-view, that's why I'm so excited for this one, is
there's actual
like
stories.
The matches, the matchups look great, like as a matchmaking thing, but I'm invested in just about every one of these. Outside of the scramble, which I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
And that was like a last-minute ad because of injury. So, I'll give grace on that.
Right.
I'm invested in all these stories.
Yeah. What do we got? Two more?
The world. Yeah. Men's world title match.
Well, we kind of talked about that one already, but
yeah. We didn't say who we picked though, did we? Did I?
You were leaning toward Hangman because you want him to chase, and I think I agree with you there.
That's my pick. I don't even know if I totally think it's going to happen. I think it's what I want to happen at this point, and I think that would be the coolest story.
Yeah.
That's going to kick ass. Again, it's Joe, Hangman, and Swerve.
It'll be good.
Hangman and Swerve are most chemistry. Anybody outside of like a Randy Savage and Steamboat.
Yeah, they're good.
They're incredible.
They're fun. Yeah.
And then what I assume is going to be the main event. I mean, they got Sting on the banner of the show and stuff. Sting's retirement match, Bucks versus Darby Sting for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Who you got?
Bucks.
Yeah, me too.
Sting's an old school guy.
I think he's like the best, most kind-hearted of them too.
Yeah.
So like, despite all the other old timers always saying you should go out on your shield, and none of them actually do.
Yeah.
I think Sting will be the one that does the thing that everybody else talks about.
Why stop now?
Yeah.
He's done nothing but be selfless since he's been there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Sting rules.
Yeah, Sunday should be fun. Should be a good night.
Yes, it should.
Good night for wrestling. Now from wrestling to wrestling.
So I only have a couple of thoughts about Elimination Chamber, but if you want, we can get into
We can
bits and pieces if you want. My couple of standouts. Tiffany Stratton was the standout of the show for me.
Yeah.
She actually got people to like boo Liv and Becky.
Yeah.
Which just from in ring, which I mean, I don't think it would happen in the United States. For WWE, it's a little bit easier to get foreign crowds to get over with foreign crowds just with your in ring. But man, she kicked all form of ass in that women's chamber match.
There's something. So I got a lot of thoughts about the women's chamber match. Really quickly before we even get into it, Corey Graves had a very funny line in the pre-show when Indy Hartwell was coming out, and she was getting cheered just because she's from Melbourne.
Yeah.
Melbourne. He said, "I'm thinking of moving here to Australia, Cole. It seems like everyone who lives on this entire continent gets a hometown welcome," which I thought was very funny.
She's not great.
No. So that's one of the things I'm noticing on the show. There is starting to be a real oil-water separation of athletes versus not
sports entertainers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I noticed it first in the pre-show when it was the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka against Indy Hartwell.
Do they have to do the kind of racist feeling name?
They chose that.
Oh, they did. Okay. That's
picked
okay
it,
then.
yeah.
All right. It feels Vince though, right?
1,000%.
It feels like
it feels very like Bolsheviks.
Yeah.
But
like they put a couple of Mexican guys together and call them like the Sombrero Brothers or something.
Oh, you mean when they had the faction of lawn care workers?
Yeah, exactly. That. Oh no, it wasn't racist.
No. Hey, Psychosis, you know how those amazing matches went when you in WCW? Why don't you get on a goddamn lawnmower? That was a real thing that happened.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
boy, Vince. Something else.
Yeah, it was great. But that match was like, wow, Asuka and Kairi Sane are really good.
They're awesome. Yeah.
And it's so stark when they go against some like Indy Hartwell. Candice LeRae can go.
Yeah, she can.
But like Indy Hartwell's like greener than grass. I
love that finish they use too. The Kabuki Warriors, the
insane elbow,
which is always great. But yeah, it's like
into the Scorpion Death Drop.
Yeah.
It was dope. So they look really good. And then in the chamber, you had super athletes in there. You had Bianca. You had Tiffany Stratton. You even had Naomi to a degree.
Yeah.
And
why isn't Naomi a horsewoman? Like, just as good as them. Came up at the same time.
Yeah.
Has always been over. I always feel like she gets kind of relegated.
She was a funkadactyl.
Yeah. I mean,
she was
anybody that touches
call my mama.
That dude. Like,
yeah, Brodus.
Yeah.
So
NWA legend.
Yeah. No, Fox News correspondent.
Yeah.
So Bianca. Yeah, the ones I mentioned, specifically Bianca and Tiffany Stratton, when they were squaring off, they looked awesome.
Yeah.
They looked
Tiffany Stratton very much looks like an Olympic gymnast.
Yes.
I know she was like on the team and had a chance or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it showed in this match.
And it makes me look at and I even wrote this down, and I don't even know if I want to say it out loud. Is Becky Lynch a good wrestler?
I think always she's been just a solid wrestler.
But
she's not,
when she's like against these other
her strength is personality and I know she's always the weakest of the horsewomen in the ring by a long margin.
And she's so I don't even think her promos are I don't know what the appeal about her is, but like she's over like Rover. I can't deny that, right?
Charisma and she might be she might be the most like the biggest star they've ever had in the women's division.
Sure.
Just overness
Yeah.
goes. It's not not my favorite. I like her, but you're right. She's not like in ring.
And it shows, and like a buddy
Yeah,
of
when
mine,
you put her in there with like Bianca.
Yeah.
And, although she had a really good match with Bianca.
Sure.
At WrestleMania, but
Yeah.
when you got like Tiffany Stratton's first ever time on the big stage, and she's just flying around, killing it. Like
dude, that springboard back, that where
the
she
first
does,
one of those that I've ever seen. It looks like it was
Amazing.
impactful. Like
when she does all those flips and then lands into a back elbow.
Yeah, the thing that Trish Stratus used to do that
Yeah.
didn't look like it hurt.
They just look like they fell and hoped for the best they
Like,
landed. She fucking vaulted herself.
This looked like the handspring actually like put more
she
momentum
looks
into
so
the shot.
good.
Yeah,
she
she's
looks
awesome.
so good. So I think we're starting to have this real big division of people who can actually be athletic and work, and like how you just put it, sports entertainers.
Yeah.
And then you got people that are kind of in the middle. I think Liv's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Liv
is like,
but I believe her when like, you know what I mean?
she sells real well, and
Yeah.
that's fine too. You can be that kind of in-ring, like good in-ring worker.
Sure.
She's not going to be doing all kinds of crazy, like
And she stays in her lane.
yeah, absolutely.
Which
but
is
she
no-
is fighting from underneath all the time.
Right.
She's very good at that. She like botches a lot of stuff, but like she's not going for big crazy
No.
moves. It's not her. That's not her lane.
Oh boy, does she love backstabbers and code breakers.
Yeah.
I counted 4
Yeah.
all day in this match. But no, so the match is good. I feel terrible for Raquel Rodriguez because she had like medical issues on the flight over, and she was she almost
I know it was the same thing, the skin thing.
yeah. So like she was in like, just constantly being tended to and going through procedure, like not like under the knife procedures, but like she was going through some sort of the word's escaping me, just help right prior to the match, and she almost didn't.
I don't know any words now. All words out head.
Like therapy.
Okay, therapy.
Yeah, like
therapeutic
like,
somethings.
Yeah, and she almost didn't make it into the match, and like, and right away you're like, oh, she looks different, right? Because it was a makeup thing, and I guess that was something to do with the thing.
I mean, I know she's like. I mean, I'm not following her on Twitter, but I've seen people post stuff that she's had this ongoing skin thing that's been a nightmare.
Totally, and I wouldn't have known that had I not, just been on Instagram.
I still find her frightfully boring.
Oh, I'm getting to my next point. She is trash in the ring. Yeah. So all that
would help if she stopped with the stupid. This is another Vince thing that he implemented years ago, but she needs to stop doing it. The big grin. She's supposed to be a big monster, and she's got this like.
Yeah.
If you're grinning all the time, you look simple.
Yeah.
Like nobody should be babyface or not. Nobody's him smiling all the time.
Like, long foot.
Like, she makes herself look like Lenny or something. Like she's big, simple, not scary. You're like 6'3", and strong as hell. Do that. Yeah. Make a mean face.
She did a terrible spot too, twice in the match where I was supposed to think it was intimidating. She would suplex a lady outside of the ring, so she's standing on the chamber of like grating, and she holds them up in a suplex, and then she like bumps them into the cage as if that's supposed to put any more gas on the suplex.
It was very silly.
And she did it twice.
Like bounced them off the cage, but then
barely
she's holding them too.
Barely.
So it doesn't. Like physics don't work.
Yeah. Tiffany Stratton I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but like by the time Tiffany Stratton got eliminated, there were loud bullshit chants from the crowd.
People did not like that.
No, they wanted her in for the long haul. And then inversely, when Raquel did a double Tejana bomb, so she had Liv Morgan and Becky in each arm, got zero.
Nothing.
Got nothing.
Because the big goddamn simple ass grin on her face all the time.
Nothing. Fucking nothing. I thought they kind of screwed with the ending a little bit where...
WWE did a screwy ending?
No, like but like Bianca did the KOD, and like I don't know.
It was like
it was on Becky, and like they didn't go down.
Opportunistic finish.
But it felt like, did they fuck it up, or did she just play defense? And I couldn't figure it out. And then like it was a weak roll up, and then
it felt a little botchy. But I'm not sure either if it was intentional or not.
And like I knew Becky was winning, so it wasn't really a big.
There's
like,
no whatever.
Who gives a shit?
I didn't care about anything on this card.
No, so that was the women's match. So that was in my opinion, better of the 2 chamber matches.
Yeah, I think so. There was stuff in the men's that I liked.
And we'll get to it, but I just thought overall, men was better than women. So since we're between segments, so you can see why it's easy to see why It's Australia's sunniest capital city. Perth is home to beautiful temperatures, friendly locals, both two-legged and four-legged. There's no end to the enjoyment here. Or you can stroll through the beautiful landscapes of Kings Park or take an adventure out into the Indian Ocean, including the historic prison known as Fremantle. Step into a dream in Western Australia. They played tourism ads.
The big winner of the Elimination Chamber was the Australian Tourism Board by
Lord.
a mile.
That's the only one I wrote down word for word.
Yeah.
But like, Jesus Christ, two things: one, you couldn't not notice them, and two, kind of want to go to Perth now.
Yeah, it looks unbelievable. I mean, I probably could have guessed that, but
Wow.
But yeah, no, the advertising was good. It like won me over. Yes, I want
not
to go to Perth.
subtle
But,
at all.
Like, boy, your shows are already, they drag.
It was long.
Like pay-per-views, I'm a little bit more okay with than or premium live events. I'm a little bit more okay with than like Raws usually, because they are forced to do a little bit more in-ring stuff, which is my thing. So like, I'm more okay with it. But the time in between the matches is already like way too long in WWE.
Did you
pay-per-views.
see that between the next match and the men's chamber match, there was 1 hour of no wrestling?
I'm not surprised. I didn't
One
see
goddamn hour.
I know that I sat
no
there
wrestling.
and stared at my TV when a bunch of not wrestling was happening.
But the first next wrestling match was the tag title, was the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest against the New Catch Republic.
The New Catch Republic.
Which Tyler
we
Bates
have no
and
chance
Pete
of
Dunne.
winning Republic.
No.
I like them, but they're better. They'd be better served in AEW.
Total.
Honest.
Well, they're small.
They're little like British style wrestling guys. Like they'd be way better.
They worked
served
their
than-
asses off.
Yeah,
Like,
they did. They're
the
awesome.
The
Like,
match was fun as
absolutely.
hell.
I mean, I've been a huge fan of both guys individually for forever too. Like they're never gonna.
No, not like, and also too, this card was the most predictable card ever. So you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So there was never any doubt. One thing Tyler Bate does that I really like is when he's got a guy in a headlock, he picks up his own foot and swings his foot into the guy's face.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Yeah, that was funny.
I love the Pete Dunne finger snapping thing he's been doing for forever. It still looks nails.
Cool.
Like he's awesome.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's WWE.
That's it. That's all I had on that match. The Judgment Day retained. The crowd called Dom a wanker.
Yeah, it was good.
In case you didn't know, spanning almost 500,000 square kilometers, the Kimberley region of Western Australia boasts wondrous scenery amongst breathtaking coastline and clear turquoise waters of Cable Beach, where you can effectively watch this. Blah 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 blah. It was every damn time they had so much, and it was so well written and I stopped writing it down because I got tired of Googling like what landmarks in Perth were. So now I'm for sure going to get inundated with.
Yeah, I feel like I've worked for the Australian Tourism Board now for like a month,
right?
Just from the ads.
It's just all familiar.
On this show.
Grayson Waller effect was next.
Grayson Bloody Waller.
Really quick, I can't not see that his like entrance logo is the SpongeBob SquarePants.
It's exactly.
font.
Yeah, it's the same font.
I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but
it has to be.
Yeah.
I
Austin,
don't know why though.
No,
he's not SpongeBob themed. He's like a douchebag Australian guy.
Yes.
Like,
Austin Theory was out first. He got Cheap Pete, said Vegemite sucks, and he went to get a bloomin' onion at the Outback Steakhouse. Like, okay. He introduces Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller gets a huge pop. Grayson Waller brings out Seth Rollins.
drank beer out of a shoe.
He did a shoey. That's right.
Yeah.
Which is with some guy that I'm supposed to know.
My guess is like Australian rules football because he was like a big Samoan kind of looking dude, and those guys are always big giant Samoan guys.
And he must be popular because he got a big pop.
Everybody knew who he was.
Yeah, the shoeys are popular.
Yeah, it looked gross though.
So a couple beats in this that played into Raw, I guess, maybe. Meaning Raw was so goddamn underwhelming. I don't even know if it was needed. But Seth came out first. Everybody was singing. Cody came out. Everyone sang.
Yeah.
Like word for word. Yeah. Everyone knows Cody Rhodes' song, and it was like loud, and you could tell.
He's going to start a cult or something. He's so goddamn over. It's insane.
Yeah. He's Homelander. We say it all the time. He's Homelander.
Yeah,
He's the most American of the American
if he turns heel,
ever.
It's just going to make everybody else become evil.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to boo him just the regular fans are going to become evil too and start like beating their families
Sure.
up and shit. That's how much they
boy.
love Cody.
it's a
They will
downfall.
follow him no matter what. If he says like, all right, start beating your kids, they'll do it.
Downfall of American society is a Cody Rhodes heel turn.
Could be.
Yeah.
Remember like AEW days when half of the crowd was like, oh, get over yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I always loved him. You know, I like would defend him a lot of the times to my AEW brethren. I never thought he would be this. Like, I always thought he'd look. His ceiling's higher than people give him credit for. I think he's one of the smartest guys in all of wrestling. He knows what he's doing. When everybody was like, "Oh no, he doesn't see it," I'm like, "No, he sees it. He knows he's being a tweener.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy. I'm a big fan of his." I didn't think this could happen to any wrestler, really, let alone Code.
Well, it usually happens by means of like force feeding.
Yeah,
Hogan.
I mean,
Cena,
they did give they gave Cody a big to do when he first came back to.
But it wasn't
WWE.
like a LOL
But it wasn't
Cody
like
wins.
he got a winner all the time.
No.
I mean, he's more of an underdog, if anything.
Yeah.
And he's got himself over. Like, it's
Totally.
incredible.
Yeah.
It's an incredible
It's very
story.
well, it's an
Like,
organic
yeah.
thing that
And everybody loves
they're
him.
sticking
His-
with.
like people in AEW that are still there.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I nothing but good
clearly
things to say
people-
about Cody. Like,
Clearly, people in WWE love
that
him.
dude might start his own wrestling company at some point.
It's called the WWE. It is his own goddamn company right now.
like,
He can do whatever he
I
wants.
could see him doing something like that.
Eventually, who cares? Why? If you're the top
No,
guy.
not. I mean, I'm not talking anytime.
oh, I thought you meant okay.
No, I mean when he retires from wrestling. Like
Yeah,
I could see
probably.
him like starting a third competitive.
He could
brand.
or he can just do what his dad did and go train the next generation in the same place he works. But he comes out. Everyone knows the song. Grayson Waller says we need to first, before we begin, acknowledge our tribal chief Roman Reigns, and the entire damn stadium threw their hands
Yeah.
up. Roman, did you see his shirts sold out? Almost
Which one?
Roman Reigns. Like
no kidding.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, he's awesome. It's
They did like a WWE World exclusive thing, kind of what they do for like WrestleMania, where they have like the pop up merch shops.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Roman Reigns' shirt sold out almost fucking immediately. So he's no question about how over he is. Seth says he has breaking news. He's days away from being cleared. I personally, in my home, did not care.
Yeah, no. Me neither.
Waller asked if there's any, Cody asked what they call his fans, and Waller's like, Cody Crybabies. They call him Cody Crybabies.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Yeah. And then Cody was just saying a bunch of shit about The Rock. Long story short, he challenged The Rock to a one-on-one match, and then they busted up Austin Theory.
Do you think they're gonna
end the
have a
segment.
one-on-one match?
When?
That's what I'm like. I don't see it. How's that gonna happen?
I think Monday Night Raw. The Rock's gonna wrestle on Monday Night
It'd
Raw.
be kind of cool if Cody beat The Rock on night one and then beat Roman on night two. Talk about underdog story.
But that goes back to your first point. The Rock's voluntarily going to eat a pin.
yeah,
Like this.
I can't see it, but I didn't think we were gonna get heel full on 1998 heel
Right.
Rock either,
That's
and we
fair.
got that so far.
Which is a more palatable way if you are him to take that loss.
Yeah, and like we talked about last week too. He's not just The Rock now; he's like the boss.
Yeah.
So the best interest of the company is his best interests.
Yeah.
He's actually legally obliged to
Do what's
the
best for the
job if
shareholder.
that's what's best for business because
Yeah.
he's supposed to represent on the board.
Yeah.
the shareholders' interests.
Yeah.
So like if that's the best thing for business,
Yes.
which I think it would be.
SmackDown sold out this week. They're not doing anything wrong.
No, but it's still capitalism. So you still
Sure.
it's his job to do whatever's going to grow them more.
But where's the money? Is it in the chase or is it in the win? WrestleMania is pretty good. It's going to sell out on its own.
Yeah, sure. The best thing they could do story wise,
Yeah.
I think, would be that. So that's what I like.
Also,
I always assume that the best product
yeah.
would yield the best return. There's always room for growth.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't see him taking a clean win.
I don't think so
Or
either.
I'm sorry, a clean pin after how many years? When's the last time he had a singles match?
he used to put people over all the time when he was like full-time wrestler.
Well, yeah, 20 years ago.
But now, heel Rock. Maybe he's got that.
Dude, I hope you're right.
Back in him.
I mean, they're doing the tag match on night one. That's undeniable.
They didn't announce it though, right?
No, but they're hinting toward it
right.
so,
I mean,
so
it
hard.
felt like that. Why did they do this? Then?
They made
Why
a
did they do
commercial
the
for
singles
it.
thing? Why did he say it specific? Because he said specifically one-on-one.
One-on-one. I challenge you to... And then, that was the whole crux of the end of Raw this week.
So what?
I don't know.
That was.
I tell you what, if they do it on a Monday Night Raw or they do it on a SmackDown, that would be good for them.
Yeah.
That's
not Rock's not doing.
No. It would just, it might be a thing where they want to be number one on television, and what easier way in all of television?
I guess like for a night,
for a night
for like
a SmackDown,
than
to have The Rock fight for the world or fight Cody Rhodes.
I'd watch.
Absolutely. Bad news. I don't have any more Australia tourism quotes. I tapped out at this point. Next up was the men's elimination chamber. It was Kevin Owens versus L.A. Knight, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, and Logan Paul. It was fine.
Yeah, it was
fine.
I liked Logan drawing mean shit about Kevin Owens from the inside of
Was that on TV?
I don't know. I saw it after. I didn't see it when it was happening.
Yeah.
But then I read it or something later.
I paid
was like,
attention.
That's amusing.
He wrote, Kevin sucks.
Yeah.
He
drew a
Logan
stick
Paul,
figure, but a big fat one.
Yeah, he brought a Sharpie into the pod and was drawn on the plastic. And then he drew devil horns and he stuck his face in there. That was fine. Like we all knew Drew was going to win. And the big angles that came out of this where AJ Styles snuck into the cage.
Yeah, AJ Styles got on a plane, flew for 22 hours just to fuck over. Who was it?
LA Knight.
LA Knight. Yeah. He is the hater of the year.
Yeah.
Like by far.
After Lashley was knocked out with a Claymore, AJ sneaks in, and then LA Knight was out. And then it looks like it's going to be Randy Orton and Logan Paul at WrestleMania as well.
Yeah, probably. It's Paul hit Orton with the Nux, right?
Correct.
I don't
And
that's a Nux finish
after he was eliminated.
Yeah.
By an RK.
Yeah.
With again, here comes the production. They got a tight shot of Logan Paul, and off camera you just see Randy Orton.
Yeah. Like
a duck going through a turbine of an airplane, just come out of nowhere. And give him an RKO.
Yeah, that was pretty
big overarching question I have. It's a pretty much no holds barred match. Why did he wait to use the brass knuckles until the end of the match?
I don't
know. That was the Elimination Chamber match. Fine. Yeah. Happy for Drew. World title match. Oh, first Triple H announces the attendance record in that building, which. Yeah, no shit. You have the smallest
it's
stage.
Wrestling ring.
Yeah,
it's always going to be the
nothing. No soccer matches.
It is impressive that they can sell out 60,000 seats in Perth, but we get
it. You get rid of that stage, you could put.
You don't need to say the numbers when we can see the place full. It's just as impressive to just see the full place.
It's not even fun when you're there. You're like, we're a part of it, but just I don't care. That just means it takes way longer to go to the bathroom.
They also don't cheer during matches anyway.
No. So the next thing was the Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. I don't know if this is just a TV I was listening to it on or watching it on. I thought Rhea's entrance was a little weak. I think people were tired at this point.
I thought that too.
Yeah.
And I did see on Squared Circle and on Twitter a few people posting, I was there. It definitely was just the TV not translating.
It is
sometimes with outdoor stuff.
Stadium,
yeah, it doesn't. But it didn't. But it didn't feel like the biggest pop of the night for me, which is shocking.
No. I thought Tiffany Stratton got bigger pops than Rhea Ripley.
And I think Rhea Ripley gets bigger pops in America than she did there.
Nia Jax needs to retire again.
Yeah. She's 20 times better than she used to be, and she's still the worst wrestler in the world.
No.
She's awful. Everything she does is somehow dangerous in real life, but soft looking in kayfabe.
Well, because she's. I just don't think she's strong.
No, she's not. She's just big. Like I said, she looks like she should be collecting disability or something. Not like the powerhouse of your division.
But that's again back to my point. You have legit fucking athletes and you have sports entertainers, and the division's starting to be, real noticeable.
By the way, I was not knocking Rhea Ripley at all. I think top 20 is incredible. I think as an overall performer, she's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I just, between the ropes, I think she's good, but not quite great.
Top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll save that for a different time because I gotta pray on that one. Was that it? That was Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything? No, that's it.
Went about 7-8 hours, I think. Felt that way.
It took forever to get through. It was
almost as long as Raw felt.
It was a long, Raw. So Raw was a whole bunch of promos, and which makes sense. It's leading up to WrestleMania, but very little in-ring work. But even the promos themselves were
It was very
What?
WWE pilled, like just making everything take as long as it possibly can.
They are missing Brock Lesnar too, man. You could tell they are scrambling to find something to do with Gunther.
It's not shouldn't be that hard. They got a lot of talented people
Which they
there
showed,
that are
but-
over and stuff.
yeah.
Like, so
But like what they're going to
why
do with
was
that.
this show torture?
It was
to watch?
tough. So the show opens, Rhea comes out, and then Becky comes out. Becky does not cut, again, she monologues, and Rhea sounds like an actual human being when she talks.
I definitely thought Rhea was stronger of the two in this exchange. I believed her a little bit more.
Totally. Which, I mean, Rhea was getting cheered, Becky was getting booed.
Yeah.
And,
it's tough. I mean, she's the most over woman on the roster.
Right.
So I think whoever you put up against her, I dig Becky, but it's a buzzsaw when you're against Rhea Ripley. She's like maybe the biggest star, second biggest star in the whole company. Like she's just that over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they put against her.
Is Becky's not winning, is she?
I thought she probably was gonna for a long time. Way before they announced the match, but we all knew that was going to be the match.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we'll do Becky going over thing.
Yeah.
I don't think so at this point.
No.
I think Rhea's going to win, and I think Rhea's going to probably turn babyface at WrestleMania. Like full, actually.
Yeah.
Like separate from... She's already kind of separated from the Judgment Day. Like, they do a lot of shit without her. And she does a lot of stuff on her own.
Yeah.
And she's like... It's time, I think. Go be the singular star. That's what she is.
I'm good with that. I don't love...
I don't like tweeners. Like, I don't want Swerve to be a tweener either. I want just pick a lane.
Right.
I like defined.
That company doesn't define, though. They're not quiet about that. They don't
Well,
believe...
they say that, but then they actually,
Yes,
they outside of Moxley, they do generally define pretty clearly, like, who's the babyface and who's the heel.
Well, you got to book things a certain way.
They say it because they are pushing the sports thing.
Sure.
Like, it's supposed to be, there's not evil and good people in sports necessarily.
Yeah.
But they do the old school, like, it's heels. Hangman was a babyface and now he's a heel.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Moxley's the only one that I think is like, and that's why I get aggravated with him because I don't like tweeners. I don't I think you get neither. You don't get best of both worlds. When you're a tweener, you don't get good reactions either way.
Yeah. The only way it works itself out is if you have like I hate to say his name, but like when Booker T and Chris Benoit did their best of 7, like I couldn't have given a shit who was the good guy and the bad guy in that.
Yeah.
Like they were just teeing up against each other.
Yeah, if it's like Ospreay and Takeshita, I wouldn't. I don't really care.
Correct.
What the story is.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like when you got Benoit and Booker T. Like,
yeah. You don't need.
But generally, like, if you're going to
1000%.
do a character,
Yeah.
do one or the other. And
Right.
Rhea already, like, everybody loves her. So
Loves her, but she was like, I don't know if she's supposed to be going into this show as the heel.
I mean, she's the leader
Or
of a heel
wrestle-
faction.
Yeah, but Becky was getting booed. Also, too, this goes back. Like, and again, I know I'm gonna get redundant with this, but like Becky looks pretty small.
She looks super skinny.
So my buddy, shout out to Gary, brought this up to me.
I didn't notice it during the pay-per-view either, which
Yeah.
is weird. But
Gary-
like on Raw, I'm like, Jesus, she's 97 pounds.
Yeah, Gary texted me, my buddy, and he's like, "Hey, I haven't watched in a minute. Becky Lynch have an eating disorder."
Yeah, that's
right, and that's not
thought occurred to me.
That's
too.
not shaming in the slightest, but like she does look teeny.
It felt like concerning when I saw her on Raw. It was the outfit she was wearing partially, I
Could
think,
be,
maybe,
yeah.
but like, man, yeah, she looks like she
looks
30
very
pounds
small.
lighter than
Yeah.
she was.
That's not this, like, again, no disparaging of body
It
size
could,
or anything like
It could
that.
just be because she's interested in acting careers. It's like it's been out there that she is, and Hollywood is like they need you to be starved basically if they're going to put you in a movie. So maybe that's what.
But it's
the
just like
story is.
Maybe it's because she's next to Rhea Ripley, who is a brick shit
It's gonna
house.
be tough
like,
when she's in the ring with Rhea.
But how am I
one-on-one,
supposed to
And Rhea's a linebacker.
How am I supposed to believe Becky's gonna be a threat?
I think I can't.
You know what I mean?
Like
it's
seeing them in the ring together on Raw. I was like, oh,
yeah, my disbelief's
she's gonna
off a little
snap
bit.
her in half.
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely. Segment ends with Nia Jax attacking Becky Lynch from behind.
Yeah.
Also, Nia Jax's afro is back. She took the weave off that she had on Saturday night, and that's I was saying it a couple weeks ago when she was finishing up her most recent run before she got fired from the company, before she came back. This is exactly the look she had. This one, she's like, oh, my hole, right? That thing.
The J-Lo meme doesn't work as well.
No. And that thing was just rocking and rolling. I'm like, oh, okay. She's just doing that again.
She was doing her thing.
That's funny.
Her Nia Jaxing all over the place.
No, and her big motivation for that is like, I beat Becky Lynch. There's no way she's going to WrestleMania because I beat her, which is just telegraphing that those two are going to have a Raw match. And then Becky's got to go over Nia to establish dominance leading into Mania.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
This is cinema.
You see how fast I'm reading? I'm reading through it so fast just so we can be done with it.
I mentioned this to Dave off air. I made a giant mistake, and this is a particularly rough Raw, but like I made the huge mistake of, for the first time ever, watching Raw right after watching Dynamite. I hadn't watched Raw yet. I just like read a recap, but for the show, I want to watch the entire show. So today, right after I watched Dynamite, I put Raw on, and the difference is so goddamn stark that it felt like I was stuck in like an eternity of like video packages and pauses between people talking and promos.
Absolutely.
Like that's the whole show.
I watched earlier this week John Wick and then the Great British Baking Show. Same thing.
Yeah, I could see that. I could use the Great British Baking Show as like a calm down if you were like trying to get to sleep and you're too fired up from John Wick and that like badass like Hotline Miami scene. That's my favorite thing in the John Wick 4. And then you need something to chill.
Much like when you watched AEW Dynamite and then you watch Monday Night Raw.
No, I didn't feel like relaxed. I felt like
annoyed.
like I was in Guantanamo Bay.
Sure.
And they were like playing something so that I couldn't sleep
Yeah.
into my ears nonstop.
It's like
it was awful.
It's like
That's
that
what
scene.
I felt like.
It's like that scene in Clockwork Orange where they hold your eyes open and just put the
exactly.
eye drops
That's
in.
exactly what it felt like.
Try the wine. Sammy was fighting Shinsuke again next.
Yeah.
So
A better match than the first one.
their first match was in the WWE system was April 1st, 2016.
Yeah, it was awesome. One of my favorite matches ever.
It was the most. Well, it's when Shinsuke was. That's when he peaked.
Yeah,
when he showed up.
And Sammy was like at his physical peak too.
I'm sick to death of watching these two wrestle.
Yeah.
It was a long match. It was a good
The
match.
Haluva kick was awesome, and the camera angle was really cool that they did there. But why did they have Sammy lose to Shinsuke 2 weeks ago?
No idea.
And then it just did this?
I don't know.
What part of the story did that forward? Like having Sami Zayn lose to Shinsuke?
Especially because coming up in the show, they're about to have like this like revolving door of guys that want intercontinental title shots,
which
and
means
like
we're gonna get a ladder match.
I hope it's at least a ladder match and not a qualifying battle royal.
If it's a ladder match, they can't be taking the belt. They can't take the belt off of Gunther in a ladder match.
Right.
Like that that's a giant waste.
Yeah. Who does that make then?
It doesn't help anybody, and it doesn't like
Absolutely not.
And it like kind of takes not just doesn't help. It like undoes a lot of the great work that Gunther's done for that belt.
Yeah.
Don't do a multi-man. Don't do a ladder match. He's your best wrestler.
Yes.
Put him in the ring with another one-on-one match. Let him have a 5-star match. Three-way. That's fine.
Like last year was perfectly
three-way.
But it was three guys, and it made sense why those three guys were in there, and they knew the story they were telling, and they knew the roles they were playing. But
they teased what Priest, Sammy. Sure.
We'll get there. Actually, we're talking about it now. We might as well talk about it now. So Gunther said later in a segment, by name, who should be my WrestleMania opponent? Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Miz, R-Truth.
Miz.
But then, like, Dominic Mysterio stepped up to him. So, like, he's probably a part of it, too. But, like, right there.
Well, it's Priest is going to be right? I think Dominic was just, like, for his boy or whatever.
Okay, then it's Priest.
Don't put Dominic in the Don't waste Gunther on
Don't put Priest. Like, none of the...
No, I have no interest in Priest.
I am so... I feel nothing when he's on... He's got a weird... You know what he looks like?
Raquel Rodriguez energy.
His gear reminds me of what were they called? Cronus?
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me so bad. It's like a mix of that and like I'm trying to shoot a Hellraiser sequel for my college class.
Chronic? Is it
Chronic.
Yeah, it was like Smash from Demolition.
It was
and then Brian Adams, I think his name was. The guy that was Adam Bomb.
Was it Brian Clark? And
Brian
then Brian
Clark.
Adams?
Brian Clark.
Yeah. And they had
there
that,
was a Brian Adams in the WWE. He was a big guy.
Well,
at
everything
one point,
he does,
but,
everything he does it for you. Oh.
Yeah,
Robin
he
Hood.
does have very chronic-esque, like
It's terrible.
late WCW era
His
gear.
gear sucks. Like, and I mentioned last week, and you put me in my place right away. I'm like, I don't even believe him as the leader of his own faction. I'm like, well, yeah, because Rhea Ripley
Yeah,
is.
'cause Rhea's-
But like, he's the least important guy, I think, in that group. Like, Balor's the most credible.
Yeah.
Dominic's at least the most entertaining.
Yeah, he's good. He's like great manager.
Yeah.
He's good on the mic.
And
Gets big heat.
Damien's just like, he should be like this big silent. He's got a cool speaking voice, which I just wish he was better
He
to
stumbled
show.
all over himself in this match or in this show.
But of all those guys we mentioned, like, I don't want any of them taking the title out. Like, I think Sammy's the guy to do it.
I would be good if they were gonna give me a banger, like a Gunther versus Gable, Gunther versus Sammy,
One-on-one.
Hell yeah, like a 1-on-1. Or if you wanted to even do a 3-way with those 3,
Right. That'd be fine.
Just do a banger. Whoever wins got to pin Gunther.
Dude, I wish Gable did not get it.
Now I kind of think Gunther's gonna keep holding this thing. I don't think Triple H. I think he's afraid of ever having anybody lose a bout. When was the last time he booked a major title to change hands?
When did
The tag.
When did Io Sky
The
win?
tag, like the men's tag at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That
Well, then
took a long goddamn time to get there.
yeah,
too.
but they lost it after like 2 months, and that's been a long reign at
Yeah.
this point. No, you're bringing up a good point. When did Io Sky win? She cashed in on Ronda Rousey.
Been a minute.
Yeah, I don't know,
He just doesn't book title changes.
which is fine. Add credibility to it.
No, you got to do some. Like I like long title reigns.
Yeah.
Like generally, I think you want more of your title reigns to be long. They don't all have to be 3 years. Like
Do you think Gunther should have lost by now?
no, but I think he should lose at WrestleMania, and now I don't think he's gonna.
No.
Like,
I wish they didn't interview, because they interviewed a couple people, and one of them was Chad Gable, which I hated it. I want Chad Gable to win so bad. I can't find exactly what he said, but he was talking. Oh, here it is. So first, it was
it was
Adam.
an I wanted more kind of thing. You know,
Adam
couldn't really
Pearce and
track.
Chad Gable backstage. Adam Pearce like, oh, congratulations on your victory over Ivar last week. And Gable says he's coming in for Gunther, not as a competitor.
Yeah, which
but
doesn't.
but as a father. He reduced his daughter to tears, laughed at her misery, and he called me a terrible father. And his reasons are honest. He said, my reasons are honest for coming after the title.
Yeah, like Sammy's or not, or whoever.
Anyone who else has ever wrestled
Yeah.
ever.
Plus, Gable's like the athlete.
That's
Just
why I didn't
be
like
going
it.
for the belt, man.
To anyone
Like,
else, it's about a championship, but to me, it just means war.
like,
I don't want you anywhere near that belt now.
no. I mean, I don't blame him. He doesn't write his own shit.
No,
Like,
he says it. And
it was garbage.
it was hot. It cooled me off on him so fucking bad.
Yeah, but I'll be heated right back up as soon as I watch him wrestle for 5 minutes. Like,
To be fair, I said all that shit about Darby, and then the next week they righted the shit.
yeah.
You know what they got to do? So Sting's retiring Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. So just have him come on Raw Monday and just like fix all the Gable shit. Like,
Yeah.
like have
That'd be perfect. Do exactly the same thing. Like,
just have Sting be the cooler. Like have him clean up everybody's. Like he's the wolf in Pulp Fiction for everybody's mistakes on like for promos. I'm good with that. They got enough money. Bring Sting back. How fucking wild would it be if he
that'd
shows
be
up on
pretty nuts.
Monday?
I don't think it's happening.
No.
But,
Back in order after Shinsuke and Sammy, they tried to get me to give a shit about Imperium versus New Day.
I didn't mind this one because I like the New Day a lot.
I couldn't care less about.
Why does WWE always make hardcore match participants wear blue jeans? It's been for 30 years.
That's a good point.
Every goddamn time. Since
Sure.
Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah.
Like, with his jeans tucked into his boots like a dumbass.
Sure.
Every time there's a hardcore match, there's kendo sticks and there's blue jeans.
Davey Boy didn't want to get skeeter bites on his ankles.
But it's like,
Big British skeeter bites.
I don't think the New Day wears blue jeans.
No.
They don't look like that
Kofi
would
doesn't
be
even
part of
wear-
their style. Like,
Kofi doesn't even wear pants. He wears James Brown's like sleeping shorts.
yeah. And then, but yeah, it's a hardcore match, so blue jeans.
Sleeping shorts.
All of a sudden dressed like,
I don't know.
Steve Blackman.
I couldn't care less about this feud. I'm glad they're
The
doing
match was
something.
actually pretty decent.
That's great.
hey, I was taking what I could get
Yeah.
at this point. Like
That's fair.
It was torture watching this episode of Raw.
I just don't see where
so
it's-
this was like I'm
it's
over
going.
kendo sticks. I will say that.
Oh,
that
was over 10 years ago.
You have to lay in so hard with those things because we've seen it so much that now to feel anything, they gotta lay it in like so bad that like in this match, Kaiser, I think. His back was torn to shit.
Yeah.
It's because you're doing a kendo stick, and the only way to make that look cool these days is like to murder somebody with it. It's just do something else.
Do they split still? Remember they used to split?
They used to split all the time.
Yeah.
You don't see it as often now, so I don't know if there's kendo stick
there's
manufacturing or whatever, but I'm over them.
Kendo Stick Emporium. Next, Chelsea Green came out.
Why do they hate Chelsea Green so much?
I don't think, who? The crowd?
The WWE.
I don't think
like
they
management.
do because they give her so much time on the air to do very little.
But she's always a joke. Like, she came out,
I think she wants
cut
to
her
be.
promo. She's good.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. But then she gets squashed.
Her role right now is a Karen. Like, she comes out and she silences the crowd and she goes, I'm speaking.
That doesn't mean you got to get squashed every match.
But yeah, kind of. Like, if you're just like a shit talker, like if
I
you're
would
just,
rather she do that and then like do something underhanded. Like
she's never
like a Karen would call and have your dog taken away kind of thing. Like something like that.
Sure.
Have her do that.
But
Make
has
it
she ever
underhanded and evil? Like
has she done?
She gets her ass kicked nonstop, and she's a good wrestler.
But have we seen that once in that company?
No, but I've seen her wrestle outside of that company. She's a good wrestler.
Sure,
like,
but like if you're like the normie who only watches WWE, you don't know she has any skills.
I know that. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, why do they hate her? Like, why do they only book her to be a crappy
But
wrestler?
I think they're casting her in a thing that's because Bayley had this role before. Bayley was Karen.
Yeah.
And like it got her over. Like it got her fucking massively over.
She wasn't getting squashed though.
She wasn't wrestling. She was hurt.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. She saved the pandemic.
Yeah. So actually, she was wrestling because that's where she did the.
She came back like in the course of the Karen character.
Is
She
that-
was
is that
still
what
the
it was?
Karen character, I think when she made her return.
Because I remember seeing her, what is it, the stump pull or the rose pull or something like rose petal, something like that. Whatever her finishers, which it grew on me so hard. I'm like, I remember that being the. She came up with that during COVID. But no, I think Chelsea Green's just slotted exactly where she needs to be on TV all the time because otherwise
she's probably not complaining about getting like
'Cause
10 minutes every week on
not
TV.
At all. Not at
I
all.
just wrestling.
And then she got continuity. She was bitching that she wasn't in the Last Chance Battle Royal. And then
I love her character.
And she's like, the people wanted me. And they did because they popped.
Yeah.
The crowd popped. And then fucking Raquel.
Did you hear when she said Raquel Rodriguez and then she had to make the face like the crowd was cheering and she was pissed off that they cheered for when she said Raquel Rodriguez?
Yeah.
But there was absolutely no reaction whatsoever.
Yeah.
So she's making a mean face at nothing. Didn't make any goddamn sense.
Pipe in sound more production team. Tahana Bomb. Raquel wins. Who cares? Yeah. Sammy. We kind of alluded to this, but Sammy backstage said, "Oh, I needed this win tonight against Shinsuke because it implied that if he lost, it would have disqualified him, at least in his mind, as a contender. Why was this interview after the match? Why wouldn't you put it before?
Solid like interview.
Totally.
But
put it before the match.
100%.
Hey, if I don't win this match, I don't think I'm going to make it to WrestleMania. Now I give a shit.
There's the stakes for the match.
A little bit of a stake. So that was that. We already say it's probably going to be those two at WrestleMania. Hit those two being Sammy and Gunther.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a ladder match or a multi-man of some kind.
What a weak ass
probably a ladder match.
What a weak ass ladder.
I just don't like. I like ladder matches.
Yeah.
I would like all of those competitors in a ladder match.
Oh, they're going to put Bronson Reed in it, aren't they?
Maybe.
I think they're going to.
What else they can do with them?
Boo.
But like.
Although I like him now because he had a baby.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
yes, Bronson Reed. That's why he wasn't in Perth.
Yeah, which made my heart smile.
But I don't want to see any of them in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Like, do a ladder match on Raw before or something to decide who's going to challenge.
No multi. Yeah, I think
maybe they could do that. Maybe they could do that. Actually, book it as a ladder match or a multi-man to pick who's going to.
That's what I think.
Whoever wins it.
That's what I think they're going to do.
It didn't. Did it feel that way to you on this Raw?
Dude, it didn't feel like.
Felt like they were giving even time to every single one of those people that was like, I want Gunther.
But they mentioned the Miz. And like he had a backstage, they mentioned the Miz and R-Truth, and he had a backstage segment with Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So like where they had to have, I don't want to enjoy R-Truth calling them DX as much as I do.
He's very amusing.
He can't fucking miss. Before that though, Cody's backstage. He's gonna The Rock's going to be on SmackDown, so he's going to see what The Rock says about his challenge on SmackDown. And then he tees up his main event match. Cody is in the main event of Monday Night Raw with Grayson Waller. And
I didn't hear that when they announced it as the main event.
Yeah.
So like when it finished, my note was, and I guess this was the main event.
Yeah.
Question mark. Like
on the heels of a record-breaking pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's fucking
you get a Grayson Waller and a corny ass Paul Heyman promo.
Oh, that was terrible. I can't wait to get. We'll speed through everything else and get to that. Imperium was in the ring and they walked by Jey Uso. Gunther says good things about Jey Uso. Actually, no, I don't care. There's a what happened? The Judgment Day was out and then Imperium was out and they
Jey
had like
Uso got attacked by Drew. Jey Uso came out looking like a dumbass with a stupid haircut and doing his Jey Uso thing. And as he was talking, saying his nonsense Jey Uso stuff, you could hear the crowd chanting "Yeet."
Yeah,
which that was amusing at least, because this was backstage. And then Drew came in and like interrupted whatever.
Yeah,
they're gonna probably have a match next week.
Right.
I don't care. I love Drew, but I do not care about that.
No, not at all. And in the ring, I did like that Gunther referred to JD McDonough as the one with the big head.
Yeah. It was
laugh.
good. Gunther great.
Let's see. Judgment Day was backstage with Andrade. Rhea made Gunther actually look intimidating.
Yeah.
She was like, why'd you do that? Like, she was like talking to Dominic, like, you made a mistake. Like, why did you step up in front of this guy?
Yeah.
It's the only thing that made this guy look threatening the entire damn show.
Because everybody's challenging.
I want to fight him.
The
I want to
scariest
fight him.
dude, which
And
should be the
Rhea's like,
scariest
what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Did you notice that Pat McAfee always tells you what happened during the commercial break in like with the live crowd?
No.
Every single time they come back from commercial, he's like, so we had like 3 Sammy chants during the commercial break. And then I'm like, we don't need an update, dude. Like, it's okay. We know it was downtime. Like, there's plenty of commercial breaks.
He's excited.
Like,
He's excited to tell you.
It just stood out to me because it happened like 3 times on this show.
Andrade was backstage. He said he just met with Pierce. Adam Pierce. He's going to discuss who his first opponent is. It looks like it's going to be Dominic.
It's going to be Success. That's going to be Andrade's first big opponent.
Put him, let him fight Gunther for the fucking Intercontinental title.
Hey, you know what would happen if you did that? He would
win.
get over.
Yeah.
Because in ring is where he's good.
Totally.
Not with the stupid Alberto Del Rio gimmick that he's been saddled with a million times.
His destiny.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
I'm
destiny.
getting bored thinking about it.
Yeah. New Day versus Imperium. I literally just wrote, do not care. Yeah. I'm glad you had a good time with it.
A good time.
It's
maybe going a little far.
It's just leading to nothing.
I stopped considering ending it all for like 15 minutes during the show.
That we already talked about the Gable thing. Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Stark. I'm sorry, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Indy Hartwell and Candice.
Kind of a squash.
It was a huge squash. Shayna choked out Indy.
I like seeing Shayna look strong.
Yeah, she's an actual fighter.
She's awesome. I don't know why they like soured on her.
I don't know.
Pretty quickly. You know, she came out of NXT, looked great, doing her Shayna thing. Yeah. Different than everybody else. Looks like a real fighter.
Right.
Like, does a different style in the ring, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then they just like, no, well, we're going to now have you job out and be in tag teams.
Yeah.
At least this tag team, they look tough in this match, but...
Well, it's not leading to a tag title match at Mania. They made that perfectly clear. Yeah. So, like, that's just something. I mean, they got to fill some time until Mania, so that'll be what they do. R-Truth, DIY, and The Miz were backstage. Judgment Day was gone for the night, so the R-Truth was just sitting. He said, I'm just reminiscing. So, Miz says they're going to get revenge on the Judgment Day. And Ciampa asks, are you ready? And you see Truth just perk up.
Yeah. I like that they're leading into it now, like that direction too.
I said, are you ready? And then Truth refers to them as Regeneration X.
I love that. That might be my favorite R-Truth thing so far in this like current comedy thing he's been doing with Judgment Day. And like I think Regeneration X is my favorite.
And then he grabs he's like, hang on, I got to get the TV. And he's like, what did he say? Oh, there's no cord or something like that.
I
forget. I didn't write it down, but it was really funny how he sold it. Clearly not funny enough to write it. Drew and Seth had a pretty fun in-ring segment. Drew McIntyre wanted to thank everybody for praying for him.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Drew was great, and I kind of a cool little twist that they're trying to like recruit Drew for the Avengers, Cody's Avengers.
Totally.
I didn't see that coming.
So
Like, oh, that's neat.
and like this was a little sloppy. Drew is working with a burst eardrum, which I hear hurts like hell.
Yeah.
But he says his doctor says he might not make it to WrestleMania, and Drew said, "Who do you think I am, CM Punk?"
Then he did crisscross applesauce.
Yeah,
like
then
Punk,
he sits down,
and he said, "Cameraman, don't shoot up my skirt, you pervert."
Then he looks at the camera and says, "Punk, I know you're straight edge. I know you don't drink, so on the way home, I drank twice as much for the most of us to celebrate winning Elimination Chamber."
Yeah, he's great.
And then he calls out Seth Rollins, and then
And we had to wait 45 minutes for Seth Rollins to walk down to the ring with his music playing. And then they probably went to commercial break like before they talked. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus. Drew says he doesn't understand why Seth is going to other lands to fight their battles because Seth is constantly interfering in the Roman Reigns stuff when he's not even on the show. Drew said he made it crystal clear he'll only be dedicated to Raw after he wins the world title, and he's only going to care about the Raw and the world title. And he says, if you keep interfering with the bloodline, they're going to cost you the world title. And he was not quiet. He's like, I'm just going to take it. Seth should probably back up. So he's not quiet that like, he's like, hey, they're going to do this, but just so you know, I'm going to just win because I want to just win. And Seth says, some risks are just worth taking.
I don't love super earnest Seth.
No.
He's such a muddled character. Doesn't make any sense.
No.
Nothing about him makes any sense.
Although he did say on him and Miss, what's his real name? Colby what? Colby.
Wait,
Seth
who?
Rollins' real name.
Tyler Black was his wrestling name.
No, his real name is Colby something. Jack Cheese.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Hang on, Nick. Let's go. Seth Rollins' real name.
I just knew him from like Indies and then
his name's Colby
NXT or
Colby
whatever.
Lopez.
Oh, that's right. I have heard that before. I knew he was a Lopez.
So
I didn't know it was Colby.
So Colby and Rebecca Lopez, his wife Becky Lynch, did Hot Ones, and they got to ask each other questions back and forth. And if you skipped a question, you had to take a bite of the last dab, which is a hot bite of a chicken wing. And
shout out Sean Evans,
Chicagoland native, yeah. And we got out of that Seth Rollins takes his fashion advice from Machine Gun Kelly. He's making fun of him though, which I didn't hate.
Yeah, like at first I was like, but then
he's like, it's like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
He's like, you dress so ridiculously that that's why.
On this Raw, Seth was the outfit he had on was absolutely atrocious, and I had something. Hang on. Seth's making excuses already. Goes down on Punk. This is so slow. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes. I said he's dressed like he's in the band Korn in like 1999.
It's a good year for music.
But like not a great outfit for 2024 Seth Rollins.
Not at all. So he did. So again, they can't get their promos correct. So he said after Drew warned him, the Bloodline's going to be responsible for the Seth dropping his title, and he said some risks are worth taking. He's implying that taking down the Bloodline is more important than protecting his own title.
Yeah. Which further buries that goddamn title.
Can you neuter it any further?
My favorite thing about this promo too was and this is true to life the way it was delivered. You might be right, Drew. But what if you're wrong?
I never thought of it that way.
That I may have cut that pause short because I started to get uncomfortable just staring at you, Seth.
Triple H is in charge. That's how promos go.
Rough.
You got to breathe,
rough, man.
You got to hear the breathing. It's like, and that's it. You hit it on the head. They spent so much. Roman just was not quiet. Why would I want that title? It's the B team title or whatever. And then Drew's all like, it's only a matter of time before they come for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's made it crystal goddamn clear he has no interest in that title.
Yeah, no.
So why? Also, too, there's no formal match made. Like, yeah, there's going to be a tag match, but they haven't formally made it. So why are they implying the Bloodline's going to do anything?
Why would the Bloodline care if he hasn't interfered yet?
Correct.
Correct.
it's just they're like we all know it's happening, but like apparently they don't know it's like we're omnipotent.
He just feels like continues to be like third wheel guy. He's just out there for all of these different segments with all these different stars,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know where you fit here.
Yeah.
Like, I understand he's there to help Cody or whatever, but like, that's not really enough of a thing.
No.
Like,
Poor CM Punk. Or thank you, CM Punk. Nick Pie in the Sky during our broadcast here texted us and said that CM Punk might be inserted as a special guest referee in the world title match.
can he with the arm?
He can count with the other arm.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
But also, too,
All right.
that
I'm happy to have Punk on screen.
Yeah, that would
I wish
make
they would have
sense.
put him on this Raw to talk for a little bit or something.
Something.
Give me a respite from the
show me a photo of just like his new Roots of Fight gear or like
anything.
something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're continuing to shit the bed with that. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's clearly going to a tag match, Drew and Seth. And again, my main qualm of if Seth loses to Drew, how the hell is he going to be an effective foil for Roman?
And he's got to
Also,
lose to Drew, right?
He has to
Unless
lose to Drew.
Triple H just wants to not
Here's the only way it makes
change belts.
No, it's
with
gonna
that one
it's
either.
gonna happen.
He just won't ever change hands.
It's going to happen. Here's the only way this makes sense because Seth looks weak. I think Roman's going to turn during that match to cost. I'm sorry, Rock's going to turn during that match to cost Roman the world title.
Yeah, I think that's probably like a Rock face turn.
Yes.
But I don't want that either. I don't want Cody like helped to win.
But
his whole story is that he's the underdog. The end of this Raw, he said the story he told was that like I'm coming after you guys by myself.
Yeah.
Like I mean I know he's got the Avengers or whatever, but like he's the underdog. He's the guy fighting from underneath. And
Right.
like you need to be wary of me because I'm that risk. You know.
Right. Well, it ain't happening. I mean, it's like they're just they're trying to get us to look one way because they don't want us looking this way. I think that's.
I still think WrestleMania is going to be like I'm excited about WrestleMania. I think that this show was such dog shit. This particular Raw
we're not
that
even
it's
done
hard
yet.
not to be. Yeah, no, I'm not giving. This is not my assessment.
No, that's my point.
But it doesn't. It's hard not to like feel more negative about stuff that I would otherwise feel positive about, just because this Raw was so trashed that it like made me feel shitty.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
My note for the next segment was, "Oh, Nia Jax out for a second time tonight. Sweet."
Nia and Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. Becky causes DQ, so Nia wins.
Wait, screwjob finish?
You wouldn't believe it.
Oh my
would you?
God.
Wowza!
Did they do any clean finishes?
No.
Why?
Why?
I mean, it's
Why
literally they grabbed the tights in the hardcore match.
Yeah.
Grab the jeans.
Yeah.
Cole's grab the jeans.
Sure.
First of all, who gives a fuck? It's a no DQ match. And also, you don't have to grab the jeans because he hit him in the head with a chair.
Right.
So, like, that was enough. You don't need to add the extra. Just make sure we all know that it's not a clean finish.
Right.
Because we can't do those.
Correct.
Like,
Well, that's reserved for premium live offense.
yeah. And they only do clean finishes in like half of those.
I'm trying to think. The tag match was not clean. There was some fuckery with that. It was outside interference
There's
there.
something in every match. Like,
The women's one we already said, like, I'm not sure like if that was even clean. And then the men's one was definitely not clean.
yeah, no.
Actually, come to think of it, there was one clean finish in 4 matches.
Don't do clean finishes.
Yeah.
The company is like opposed to as opposed as AEW is to doing the schmaz shit. That's how opposed Triple H is to doing just finishes.
Right.
To letting anybody look like they can lose a match.
Right.
Like it makes everybody look weak.
Oh, the Hammock District. Let's see. So backstage, Liv gets in Becky's face. It says, "Not everything's about you."
I do like this little Liv character thing she's got going.
I think she's
pissed
going to be
off.
she's going to be in the title match. I think.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I think
I'm fine.
coming around to Liv on this
because everything tracks.
Yeah,
Like,
and she's like legit got gripes, like, and she's sticking to her guns on it.
Totally. And I'm fine watching somebody Hail Mary a bunch of code breakers if it's good.
Sure.
Because that's like video game shit.
Yeah,
That's like
you spamming a move that like the first move you learn in 2K or whatever.
Totally.
Like, oh,
she's
Duke.
like just over and over again.
It's like when Ortiz in War Games, the AEW's version of War Games.
Yeah.
When he like forgot how to do everything else, so he just spammed clotheslines for like it was awesome. It was a character that he was doing intentionally, but it was hilarious. It was like, oh, you forgot all the buttons in this game, so you're just clotheslining nonstop.
So that's it. Jey Uso is backstage. This is kind of funny. So he keeps acknowledging he's falling short, and Drew McIntyre steps in. From the bottom of my heart, you deserve this.
From the bottom of my, you deserve it.
It was hysterical. Cody and Grayson Waller in the main event. The match was, who cares?
Yeah, Cody dragged him to Grayson Waller. I do have this note. I said Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. They're not bad, like annoying asshole characters. It's kind of like if the Guns never learned how to wrestle. It'd be like that. So
they're annoying, but yeah. The meat of this is Paul Heyman came out after the match, and Cody's like, if this is a bloodline setup, I'm ready. And Heyman's like, no, it's not a bloodline setup. And Heyman's like, I am. He comes out with 3 other guys,
a bunch of cops.
He's saying these are
cops.
Comes out with members of the NYPD. The show is in California. And Heyman's like, withdraw your challenge from The Rock or else. Cody beats up all the NYPD guys. And my favorite thing on the entire show, as the show's going off the air, Paul Heyman takes out his at least iPhone 13 with Roman Reigns' branding on it. Calls him, and then takes.
Well, he didn't just call him. He does the voice to call
Roman
into the
Reigns.
microphone. Also, call Roman. And then
moments later, he takes out his at least iPhone 11 with a worse camera with a probable, and he's
call Rock.
He had 2 cell phones for each guy. I just like that they were not the same phone. Like he clearly borrowed someone's phone in the back.
Why do you need? I don't know what they're going for there. Even why do you need 2 phones?
They're both everybody's scheduled for SmackDown. They already said they're going to be.
Maybe you
there.
heard me talking about scumbag promoters having 1 million iPhones.
Could be
like, I could use that.
They're listening closer.
Cody did the line from basically the line from the Watchmen. They're not. I'm not stuck in here with them. They're stuck in here with me.
Yeah.
They're not hunting me. I'm hunting them. Kind of thing. Like. And then I said, I guess that was the main event.
That was the main event of Raw. It was a. Ugh.
It didn't even end like an end of a show. Like they went to commercial break, and then another show was on. I'm like, what is? Okay, thank you. I'm glad, but what the fuck?
Yeah. Imagine being at that show and that's what you paid for.
I saw a WCW Nitro live, and
that's dope.
Well, I saw like 3 of them in my life, but I saw one in late '99 that was like a fever dream. It was like I actually kind of enjoyed it because it was so goddamn like out of control. There's clearly nobody running the show.
Right.
Like as wild as that looked on TV, like live at that point, I'm glad I experienced it because it was like, oh my God, like this is how bad it could possibly get.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It was just like running after running and like nothing made sense on top of nothing making sense to the point where it got to be pretty amusing. I would have preferred that to this Raw
something
by 1,000 miles
for how big the goddamn roster is.
Why is that show 3 hours long?
Advertising, baby.
No, there's nothing happening.
Advertising.
Yeah. They do like entrance and then run a commercial break, and then the other person comes out.
Yeah.
Throw that whole entrance, and then 3 moves, commercial break.
Right.
Like. Oh,
that's the show.
They need to do something about the pacing. I guess they don't have to because people lap it up every week. But oh my gosh, that was rough.
It's tough to watch.
How do people with modern attention spans? I don't have I like slow movies and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not eating my media up 20 seconds at a time like everybody else is.
Sure.
How is that the most popular show?
Well, it's better than when Vince was around.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Like, again, by comparison, this is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, this was not good by any.
This has been a big miss.
Thing. But also just this week. I mean, it's been better.
Do we give them the benefit of the doubt
weeks.
Because they're jet lagged or like they just.
This was just terribly booked. This whole show was like paced without any thought.
Nia Jax was on twice.
Yeah, Nia Jax. 2 big segments.
Thrice.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah,
with her afro,
with her more and more developing afro as she worked. No, I don't know. It was that.
That was the show.
I want my money back, and I didn't even pay.
We'll look at the bright side. We have Revolution to look forward to this Sunday.
Yeah, that's why we rocked out AEW first today. Because they made an effort.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to like let one crappy episode dampen my excitement that I do genuinely have for some stuff that they got going for WrestleMania.
Right.
I'm excited for the continuation of Logan Paul and Kevin Owens because, like I said, that's just a pairing I wanted to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would have been nice to see him on this show. Just
They're
SmackDown guys.
SmackDown guys.
But like anything entertaining would have been a nice break in the lack of action.
Well, I'm just glad the New Day got their match in that I didn't.
New Day,
I'm really glad that was on the show because I got to fast forward a lot of the show because I didn't.
That was maybe the only thing I paid attention to.
Didn't even care what happened. I'm like,
they beat the crap out of each other pretty good.
Sense.
I think Xavier Woods, his perm is dope. By the way, he looks like a singer from the 1930s or something. I think he got a concussion. By the way, finish of the match. Why? So you can't do unprotected chair shots to the head.
Oh, they're coming
back. What you can do,
they're coming back.
You do nonstop in every company.
Yeah.
Is the thing where you jam the chair into the corner and then ram the opponent's head into the chair. It's the same as a chair shot, my man. Like that's
you're not
the
wrong.
Same concussion you're going to get.
That's like you can't do a pile driver, but Canadian Destroyer's plenty.
Exactly.
Same damn move.
But that's what that was the spot that I thought Xavier might have got his bell rung, as they say on. But yeah, like. That was that. That was Raw.
That was Raw.
It's a thing that happened. We got Sunday's going to be a lot of fun.
Sunday will be fun.
We'll do our next week's show will be a little bit of a special episode, being that it's post-Revolution, and with the card looking as awesome as it looks, we're going to do like a little extra recap for the pay-per-view, and our friend Stuss will be joining us. In the booth. We call this a booth.
We're calling it the booth?
I guess. I don't know.
All right.
It's better than my walkout basement.
Studio.
My studio.
Your walkout basement.
So this is joining us in the studio next week to go over. It's another AEW expert that we'll have on hand for the recap of what I'm sure is going to be a fantastic show.
All I hear is handicap match 2-on-1. That's all I'm hearing you say right now. I'm going to have to explain to two people why I hate the Young
Go back
Bucks.
and listen to these shows. You like AEW more than you like WWE.
It's all when I just like good storytelling, good consistent story. Dude, I like mid to late 90s ECW.
Oh,
because
yeah,
they told a damn story correctly.
That's the gold standard.
Yeah.
Like that is
storytelling was there. Like the matches were always there, but like just tell a consistent story, and I like that. That's it. It's not rocket science. Speaking of consistent stories. We mentioned last week that we are going to be adding extra programming to the show. And as we alluded to earlier, the Midwestern flu got to one of us this week, so we were unable to open our eyes for half the week.
Just a slight delay.
So we'll be reviewing a classic.
Should we let them know what we're doing?
I personally think they'll know right away without us having to say anything.
I mean, there was like 3 different ones that like really stood out for a thing that I wanted to pick for the first one.
Yeah.
But if you think of ridiculous, well, I'll tell you, it's a WWF. Think of ridiculous pay-per-views. Yeah. The most ridiculous one you can think of. The most ridiculous
one. It's that one.
The one that we're doing, which
starting
for good reason.
Series off with.
So that should be a lot of fun.
It'll be a good time. So that was podcast.
I think that does it. Again, thanks everybody for sticking with us. We hope you join us again next week for our weekend recap for our AEW Revolution review show, and for our special historical pay-per-view. What do you call a review?
Oh,
our take on
I like take.
historical pay-per-view. Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.